Welcome in. It's Friday. Conrad has made it to almost the weekend. Even after his diatribe against Kalen DeBoer, he has made it to Friday safely. And he didn't sleep late today. Which is good. He got
that's right. That's right. It's one in a row.
Yeah.
One in a row.
One Friday in a row now.
Can't get away from it.
I am never going to live that down.
Yeah, you will.
You like how it just kind of working in conversation now? Like, it just doesn't matter what we're doing.
Yeah, Pat just casually just brings it up now.
He does.
Hey, you remember that time you slept a little late?
I'd already
Thanks.
forgotten about it. I was letting you know.
Oh, I will never forget about it.
Yeah,
No, he will not.
He will not.
He will not.
I
But
do.
when he reminds you of it, I will jump on the bandwagon and I will help to make you feel even worse.
I'll just say Pat better never sleep a little late because he will never hear the end.
You don't have to ever worry about that with
Yeah,
Pat.
no, he's awake at like 3
Pat
a.m.
doesn't sleep enough.
I don't. I mean, I need sleep studies. I need drugs.
He's one of the few human beings on this earth that sleep with their eyes open.
I probably do. I think one of my kids, he had one eye, like, did that. It was kind of really freaky.
That would be freaky.
Yeah, it was freaky. Like, you walk in the room, like, wow, is he asleep? Is he awake? What's going on?
Buddy,
Yeah.
you okay?
You okay? Well, I mean, ever since the donkey kicked him in the head, it kind of straightened everything out.
Well, if he falls in the well, was it reversed? They go back to normal.
Down in the cave.
Yeah, down in the cave. That's
Makes
what
you
happened to
sleep
Conrad.
late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you sleepy. Narca sleepy.
Narca sleepy.
That's what it is. We'll kind of recap what took place down in Destin, Florida. Really not a heck of a lot. It seemed to get accomplished from an official point of view, except charging the field or courts that we'll get into a little bit later.
That's how corporate meetings, destination meetings are supposed to go, though, Pat. Everybody's supposed to have a good time. You talk about a lot, but nothing really gets accomplished.
Yeah, pretty much.
A lot of good golf.
A lot of good golf, a lot of good food down in the Gulf of America. So, yeah, it was a good time had by many, but we will see what happens now as we continue to kick the can down the road. Now, there were plenty of people nationally that absolutely had a field day yesterday, which is no big surprise, about the 7-page document that I am currently holding in my hand. Everyone on the show should have their copies.
I've got mine.
Yes, this wonderful copy of what the SEC handed out to the media. It's a 7-page document in which it shows the regular season gauntlet that the SEC teams face in league play. Says the SEC, no other conference has a regular season as grueling as the SEC's. And if you're watching us on YouTube, right here in my hand, we have proof of that.
Some very nice charts in there.
Love charts. Kind of details the way the SEC has absolutely dominated.
Because after seeing the Big Ten stat of the 5.3% versus the 5% or the 5 whatever number that they had for the college football playoff and how many teams would have gotten in under the current format, I thought there has got to be somebody in that conference office or somebody that they can allocate some of this to. That can't be the final number, the final metric that we use, where the SEC is behind the Big Ten. And right here, this is proof positive. This is all you need. This is what we've been waiting on.
Yeah, I mean, they have strength of record, SP+, which is efficiency ratings. You have the Massey, which is a blended formula that they used to use in the old days with the BCS. You have the Football Power Index, the FPI, that you and I have tried to figure out number of years, including having people on from ESPN to try to explain it. And it's
trig.
Yeah, it's literally trigonometry or trying to learn Latin. It's something else. And then, of course, we all know SOS, which is not save our ship, but strength of schedule. That is what we have come to know, the SOS. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pretty graphs and charts, and not really sure we needed all that to figure out that the SEC is the most dominant conference when it comes to college football. But the SEC felt the need to just kind of remind everybody in a nice way, big time, from Brett, who covered the Big 12 and the ACC. And that is fine.
Well, a lot of them, he takes the stance it does. So
it's 7 pages of, hey, here you go. If you questioned, I know the last 2 years, the Big Ten has won the national championship in football, but let's not forget what this conference is. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, the SEC, they're coming back down to earth because of now the transfer portal and because of NIL. So the playing field has been leveled. Yeah, college football has changed.
Yeah.
But I think
To
we
some
can,
degree, that's true.
Yeah, it has. But we can also say that the SEC got absolutely screwed last year in regards to the number of teams that should have made it. Forget about whether Alabama should have been in there. This is not an Alabama thing. This is an Alabama, South Carolina, and an Ole Miss conversation.
Yeah, one of those three. You'd be hard-pressed to convince me that one of those three should not have been in that field.
Correct. So, but anyway, folks nationally, including the commissioner of the Big 12 Conference, Brett Yormark. And later in the show, we're going to go to Orlando, Florida. That was, the video you asked me about yesterday with Brett Yormark?
Mm-hmm.
They were at the Waldorf Astoria.
Okay, it looked really nice.
In Orlando. That's where their Big 12 meetings were.
I still got an eye for fancy, Conrad.
I was about to say, that sounds very fancy.
Matt Murschel, who is a longtime college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel, he covers the Big 12. He covers the University of Central Florida. He will be on this program at 12 noon. And we'll get his take on what he witnessed at Big 12 meetings. And one of the comments that Brett Yormark gave yesterday to the media, he was kind of taking a shot at the scheduling partnership with the Big Ten and the SEC. He says, no, we're fine. We love our out-of-conference schedule. We don't necessarily have to have an alliance with any particular conference. We play them all.
That's what you say, Pat, when you don't have an alliance with a particular conference.
We love our out-of-conference schedule. We don't necessarily have an alliance with any particular conference. We play them all.
So how many SEC teams did they play last year? Because Oklahoma State played Arkansas.
They did.
I'm struggling to think of another. In the regular season, I'm sure there's a bowl game.
You had Arizona State played Mississippi State, right?
Oh, yeah, they were in the Big 12 now. Okay, there you go.
We didn't have Utah, Florida last year, did we? That one ended the season
that was
before.
2 years ago. But the pig farmer.
I
guess technically he is correct. They did play teams like in the SEC, just Arkansas, Mississippi State.
Went a lot, that's for sure. But I just found it interesting how he just could not resist taking one more shot at the SEC.
I thought I was going to like him when he took that job. And I did. And I still do. I thought he had some really innovative ideas about moving the game south of the border, conference games. And
he seems like the
and
fun
trying to think outside of the box. Yeah.
Like he would be the one that he would throw an office party and it would be probably a pretty good time and have some.
And for the most part, I think he kept his head down and he was very diligent about what he was doing. But here lately, he's found a little bit of a exuberance.
Are you guys familiar with Chris Hassel?
Sounds familiar.
We're about to be.
You've probably seen him. Molly probably knows him. He's an Iowa guy, and he does some college football podcasts. He's also an anchor for CBS Sports HQ, but he does a lot of college football podcasts. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a really nice following on Twitter. So he went on Twitter yesterday, and he said to the SEC, "Ring me back when you add a 9th conference game and stop playing FCS teams in November." So that was his response. So I just said, okay, before I get into a social media war with this fella.
Oh, come on, Pat, you got to do it.
I decided to do a little research. Let the numbers speak for itself. So you know what? I pulled one of the teams that made the college football playoff for the Big Ten last year. The Indiana Hoosiers. Let's take a look at their non-conference schedule last year. Now, the one area that Mr. Hassel could come back to me and say, well, the SEC, they always play these lettuce games, cupcake games towards the end of the season, whereas the Big Ten, they always play it at the front end. It's always the first month of the season for the Big Ten when they play these nobodies. They played FIU that went 4-8. They played Western Illinois, which, by the way, is an FCS team. They went 4-8, and they played Charlotte, who went 5-7. So the grand total of the non-conference opponent record for Indiana that made the college football playoff last year was 13-23, including an FCS opponent. So he's crowing about the SEC playing FCS opponents, but you had one of your teams that made the college football playoff. They devoured their FCS opponent, and they played 2 other nobodies.
Hope
So-
you didn't see Indiana's non-conference schedule for this upcoming season.
Well, and that
'cause
was
it's
my-
even more embarrassing.
That was my next point. Collectively, an 11-25 record for the 3 teams that Indiana is going to play this year, including Old Dominion, who went 5-7, Kennesaw State, who was 2-10, and let's just throw in another FCS opponent, shall we? Indiana State.
Kennesaw State, you could argue, was either last or next to last as far as the worst teams in college football last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're crowing about the
They did beat
SEC playing FCS opponents. Meanwhile, the team that you guys propped up and told America that deserved to be in the college football playoff played the likes of FIU, Western Illinois, and Charlotte, and those teams had a collective record of 13-23. So what do? You come back this year, and Kirk Cignetti, for him beating his chest and talking about how he'll play anybody in any parking lot, anywhere, anytime, they're playing Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State.
And why
this
do you
year.
schedule that way, Pat? Because the committee's telling you they don't care how difficult your schedule is. They just want to see double-digit wins to be in consideration.
Not that they're in the college football playoff conversation or will be this year, but Southern Illinois is on Purdue's schedule.
There you go.
God, that's going to be one of the worst games of the entire year. Southern Illinois and Purdue.
I just picked random Big Ten team, pulled up schedule, Southern Illinois, week 2 after Ball State.
Yeah, so ring me back when you add a 9th conference game and stop playing FCS teams in November.
Chris, we can do this all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's – and Greg Sankey said it best earlier this week in Destin. He said, you know what? It appears that the committee cares more about wins than your losses, the quality of those losses. Like you said, they want – if you're sitting there with 10 or 11 wins, it doesn't matter who you beat. It doesn't matter how bad the opponent was, but as long as you got that double-digit number, the committee is going to smile widely at that program. And that's what happened. So why would anyone try to argue the strength of the SEC and the strength of the league? The best winning percentage against Power 4 teams, the highest ranked recruiting classes in all of college football, the most players that are sent year in and year out to the NFL. So just using that criteria right there, why would anybody think that there's another league that is better than the Southeastern Conference? Give me one metric that would support somebody that would throw a wet blanket on the SEC.
You haven't won a title in 3 years, Pat. It's despicable.
The only one I can think of is the original stat that we saw a couple of weeks ago about the number of teams under the current format that the Big Ten would have had over the SEC, and it was 5.3 to 5.
That was based on a 16-team
Right.
format.
And then you could also probably tie that back into the conversation, though, of, well, why is that? It's because they have easier schedules, so you have more teams at the end of the year where the elite or the top teams in the conference get to prop up
Which
their
is the
records.
metrics that's contained in the 7-page document.
Bingo.
Okay, so we just quoted the 16-team, but if you look at a 14-team playoff, the SEC actually has more teams than the Big Ten. So by extending it out 2 teams, that's how the Big Ten finished ahead of ahead of the SEC at 5.3. Because if it's a 14 team, the SEC had 52 total teams over the course of the last 10 years. The Big Ten had 51.
Suckers.
Well, and if you extrapolate enough, you can find enough data that supports whatever argument that you're trying to win.
So Ralph Russo, who covers college football for The Athletic, longtime Associated Press writer, he was down in Destin all week, and he wrote, if Clemson's field goal versus SMU is short and Alabama gets in the playoff, are we doing this? Talking about this. Talking about the whole conversation. Are we trying to blow up the college football playoff if Alabama gets in? This is what Ralph wrote. So he asked that question at the beginning, and then he follows up by saying, my sense from being around the Southeastern Conference this week is yes. So this is not an Alabama thing. This is a Southeastern Conference thing. According to Ralph, they, being the SEC, believe they should have had 6 in the playoff last year. Take the ones that got in, and then the 3 that we talk about, Alabama, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. He says, and maybe the SEC would have been okay with 5 teams last year. So this is not only a situation that they're looking at last year, but just collectively what the committee has done. And that's why the SEC has decided to send out a 7-page document.
If we were going college basketball tournament committee and eye test at the time and how a team's playing, Ole Miss would have been the first team that I would have submitted last year.
Well, I don't think there's any
At
doubt.
the end of the season.
How
they were playing.
I disagree. My opinion would have been South
I would
Carolina.
have gone,
Or South Carolina.
Yeah.
It would not have been Alabama was my point.
No, correct. I'm with you 100% there. It would have been South Carolina or Ole Miss.
Okay.
Probably South Carolina just because of the way that
they
was
were
playing
undefeated
and-
the last half of the season. They
yeah,
were
I mean,
great.
it was,
Yeah.
So if you
That's fair.
If you were looking at a stock, I would have said, South Carolina. But so it's interesting that Ralph Russo says that this is not an Alabama thing because that's what everybody wants to jump on.
Because if Alabama got in, then it would have been, well, why is Indiana in over Ole Miss or South Carolina? You would have that would have been the conversation.
Yeah. So very interesting. We've got more examples that we'll share throughout the show of the social media back and forth, including one ESPN anchor calling the Big Ten a Ponzi scheme.
Ah!
I wish I would have thought of that first. I laughed out loud. I thought that was really, really good.
Let's not get into that because Madoff did attend Alabama for a time.
We've got plenty to get into, as you can tell, on this Friday. We've got Wimp Sanderson coming up at the bottom of the hour. Barrett Sallee will join us at the top of the hour. The Braves get a big split of a doubleheader yesterday against the Phillies. Head home against the Bo Sox. We'll also go to Orlando, talk Big 12. And in the 12 o'clock hour at 12:30, Molly will give us her review of the Bad News Bears, the first one with Walter Matthau. So a lot to get into. Join us here, hopefully, for the next 3.5 hours. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5. Well, today the NBA, they released a list of 50 early entry candidates who have now officially withdrawn their name from the NBA draft. We already knew that Yaxel Lindeborg, the former UAB forward who is now at Michigan, he announced earlier this week that he was removing his name. He has officially done so. Tahad Pettiford at Auburn has officially done likewise. And so has LeBaron Philon at the University of Alabama. There's one other player that is listed from Auburn University that has now taken his name out of the NBA draft, and that is Chad Baker Mazara. I was unaware that he was still thinking about the NBA draft, but apparently he was.
Huh. Okay. Well, good for USC.
Good for Musselman.
That's right.
So CBM will continue on.
Stir it up in the Big Ten.
With his 18th year of eligibility.
That's right.
In college basketball. He'll be 27 years old. He'll be Conrad's age by the time he
What if he
gets done
starts
with this
teaching
season.
a class at USC?
He might as well while he's at it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's working on his doctorate right now, though.
I think it's interesting that he's in Los Angeles with Stetson Bennett.
Wait, like you saw them hanging out, or just the fact that they both reside in
They're
the
still in Los Angeles.
They're still in the same city.
Yeah, they are. Maybe they hang out. Maybe they'll be buddies.
That dissertation though, he's locked in on it.
What would it be on? I just want to know, what would a Chad Baker Mazara dissertation be on? What would his doctorate be?
Oh gosh.
Conflict resolution?
Deductive logic.
There's a lot of options here.
Well, we have a long summer of heat and humidity ahead, so keep your home comfortable with Trane, America's most reliable HVAC brand. And to give you more peace of mind, Trane is offering up to 10-year warranties on parts and labor on select home comfort systems. So to learn more about this offer and to find a specialist near you, visit Trane.com.
So one bit of legislation that was passed down in Destin, as the SEC has officially changed its policy on field and court storming ahead of the 2025-26 school year. Access to the competition area policy will incite now a flat fee of $500,000 instead of escalating fees that were set in 2023. However, Sankey said that if schools allow for visiting teams and officials to exit the field of play before they rush the field or court, a fine will not be given. So give them a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Get off the field, get off the court. Y'all want to come storm it? That's cool. But just make sure the visiting team is off the floor or the playing area. Now, the $500,000 fee will continue to go to the visiting team if incurred. That is, if it's another SEC team. If it is a non-conference game, the fine will continue to go to the conference's postgraduate scholarship fund. So what do you think? $500,000. You think that's got enough bite in it?
Yeah. And I do like that they added, just allow them to get off the field and then do your thing. I think students will actually listen to that. And if you have field security that's out there, then you're going to have other students policing students going, what are you doing? Just hang on. 5 minutes. Give us 5 minutes and then we can rush the field. I think that's possibly a great solution and we can end all this madness.
Yeah, I do like that part of that. I do wonder, though, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like $1 million, that just sounds intimidating, right? Like, just the idea of $1 million, like, do we really want to do that? I feel like if you really wanted to send a message, you would have gone up that much, but 500 is still a lot of money.
Because there is some social media or marketing person, like in an athletic department, like they're going to give a number or a stat to a president and say, okay, look at the number of unique views that we had on this video when we beat Alabama and the field was stormed. Okay. Look at, we got all this free advertisement on ESPN Sports Center, Fox, Big Noon Kickoff, College Game Day. Look at all the social media we had on TikTok, Facebook, all the things. And they're going to say, that is invaluable. Like, you cannot buy.
Yeah, it's worth $500,000. Way more
Absolutely.
than that.
And so I'm like you. I think if you would have said, we're going to start at $1 million. Okay. Now, I do like the policy of giving them an opportunity to just get everybody off the field.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Well,
but I think $1 million would have gotten people's attention.
I think though, if it try it this way, if it doesn't work, then you go to $1 million. You got to have somewhere to go.
That's fair.
I guess you could have always started at $1 million and gone to 1.5 or
5
2.
million.
But you think about it though, the schools that, and it's not always the case, save Tennessee because they ended their drought versus Alabama and what happened, and we saw it last year. But in most situations, the teams that need that money the most in their NIL, those would be the fans that were celebrating because it would be a huge upset, as opposed to, and or going, those unfortunately might be the schools that are either losing the money or having to pay the money. They're not going to get paid.
Maybe they can enact like a sympathy rule, like for Vanderbilt last year after they beat Alabama. Like, I was miserable, but they kind of deserved it. Like that's a once in a lifetime opportunity for them. So
Well,
you give them like the sympathy pass.
Do you fine them if only 8,000 fans rush the field? In the 28,000 that showed up, and 20,000 were Alabama fans.
Well, Clark Lee is probably out there going, "Hey, hold on a second. We got to pay Diego Pavia."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, stop.
Hang
Get
on.
off the field.
You want these cranes gone?
Yeah. I was about to say this would have hurt Vanderbilt more than anybody last year.
Yeah. So $500,000. So that was a bit of policy that was voted on and passed for the SEC. I was told that they were still looking at some tiebreakers, and I have not seen anything officially from the conference in regards to those type areas of competition. But at least for
So they're changing them again?
not for football.
Oh,
this
okay,
was for some other sports. They're trying to get away from Commissioner Sankey flipping a coin.
No, I like the ceremonial coin flip.
Yeah, it's drama.
Yeah,
Do it on the SEC network.
He's not a fan of that. And I don't think the fact that you also had to declare two teams the automatic champion in
And
softball,
yeah.
So they got to do some things,
That's fair.
kind of clean that up.
I think what about balloons with a blow dart?
Oh, just like a challenge out there?
Or no, just you have the teams. The blow dart has either the color. It could be like a gender reveal, the color of the school, the two schools,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then nobody knows. They're mixed up in a bag. You put them on a wall, and whatever one you hit
Just
reveals
like
the
that you
team.
went blow dart. That was
Yeah,
the
blow
first
dart.
thing that came to you.
That's how we did our NFL fantasy draft one year at Soho.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. I like
Yeah.
that.
Coming up next, we'll talk to Wimp Sanderson, his weekly visit brought to you by Crane Works on a busy Friday. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 10:32, Jocks 94.5 on this Friday. Coach Wimp Sanderson is going to join us momentarily, brought to you by Craneworks. Got a little breaking news out of the Magic City. This is great news. Just been announced a moment ago from the American Athletic Conference that Birmingham will host the American Athletic Conference basketball tournament coming up.
Sweet.
Down at Legacy Arena.
Nice.
Yeah. So they're moving from Dickies Arena. They're in the Fort Worth area, and they'll be played here in downtown Birmingham at Legacy Arena.
I know AK loves that.
Yeah. So good
That's
stuff. Yep. Each and every week, we're blessed to talk to Coach Wimp Sanderson, former Alabama great, Hall of Fame coach, brought to you by Craneworks.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah, the big dog's got it.
Wimp Sanderson on Three Man Front is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it. The big dog's got it. And now, Wimp Sanderson.
I faced it all.
And the coach, Wimp Sanderson, joins us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
No, I'm hanging in there. I want to tell you where I am. I'm with Ram at Hong Kong Tailors.
Oh, okay.
Hong Kong Tailors has been a great friend of mine for a long time. They saw me in a seersucker suit one time. They pulled it off of me and put a black one on there. So I'm certainly here for Craneworks, but I wanted to mention that. I kind of want to jump on three things. The third thing I don't know the answer to, that your callers will. On the baseball, the first and best thing, and I've said this before, is the weather. The weather makes more people have a chance to go to the finals or to the next round. But what that does is it gives the athletic directors and the presidents and the coaches, baseball coaches, an opportunity to spend more money and get better players. So because of the weather, and because of the ADs and the coaches doing a good job recruiting, that makes baseball in the SEC the best, I think. You have a little bit of good, and I know everybody's going, when I hang up, I go say it rained every day for a week, but it has. But generally speaking, it's not that way. Any thoughts?
Totally agree. It's conducive for having better baseball here in this part of the country, no doubt. I love college baseball. I know that you got a grandson that plays.
Yeah, trying to. On the basketball side, Philon's coming back. I think Alabama, and I was with Nate, and then I had a chance to go to the Alabama meeting and golf thing. I had somebody keep in that. Well, it was actually Annette passed away then, I guess. But I went to that, and I think, without me quoting him, because I'm not going to quote any coach, the idea I had is that he has one of the best shooting teams he's ever had, and that was before Fallon came back. The kid from the West Coast is back, the kid from Auburn is back, but he has, I don't know how many rebounds it's going to be for a big man. They signed a 7-footer. But according to him, just talking, in the corners and not trying to announce anything, because the media can't come to that. He felt like he had a very good shooting team. I think the penetration with the ball. I'm going to say this in a nice way. I don't think he was as excited about Sears as people think he was. That's just me, and he didn't tell me that. But the one thing that he did do is not only did he shoot the three well, he got the lob pass, and he made two people guard him on the dribble. Now the five guys that they have back, if it's five, they're on the perimeter. I don't know if any of them are penetrators or not, because I don't know much about them. I know one of them got hurt when I was from the West Coast and hurt his knee, and I don't know that kid from Auburn's a complete penetrator. So. I'm sure. One thing penetrators do. If you can't guard me, somebody else has to come over and help guard me. I throw the ball from where that defense came from and make threes. So you need guys who can beat the defense and make the defense help in order to be effective with your threes. Am I talking too much?
No, not at all. That makes perfect sense. I was going to ask you, Coach, in regards to Philon, how does that for you personally kind of change your outlook as we head into the summer months about this Alabama basketball team, knowing that he's coming back?
Well, 100% better. I think you always have strengths and weaknesses. I don't have no idea how good the really big kids are. When I was coaching, every 5 minutes, somebody in all the functions said, "Hey, Wimp, when you get a 7-footer?" And I always said to him, "If you can't run it, don't want him." And by that I mean I wasn't trying to be funny. The Robert Ory's and Spreewells and the people I had could run. I think the key for big people, yes, is to rebound. You got to rebound. You got to be able to put the ball back when they miss. I got all of that. But I think the other factor is if you can change ends of the floor by running. We used to have a guy named David Benoit who we got. I don't know if y'all remember David or not. But we had him run the ends of the floor. And about 10 minutes to go in the game, the guy guarding him wasn't running no ends of the floor. And we were getting in there and shooting layups on the lob pass. So I think Alabama, I have no idea how good the penetrators are at Alabama, so I'm not going to sit here and say they're good or bad because I don't know. But obviously they're darn good shooters.
Coach Wimp Sanderson, presented by our friends at Craneworks on the Higginbotham Hotline. I do want to ask you about Bruce Pearl and Tahad Pettiford and what he potentially means. And you get a kid from Serbia, a top 15 international player that was college eligible. Your thoughts on Auburn heading into the summer months?
Well, I think him coming back, Pettiford coming back, is a good catch. There's going to be some molding and making there because they're losing a lot of them. Of course, Alabama did too. You know, you'd like to say Auburn lost 5 and Alabama didn't lose quite that many. But the big kids they got is supposedly awfully good. And last year I felt like that they had gotten some guys that people didn't knock their doors down to get. But when they got with Bruce and got with a team aspect and could shoot the basketball and Denver could defend, they came out really good. So, you know, they're going to have a fine team. I can't name the players, but they're going to be very good, and the Alabama's going to be very good because they shoot it so well. It's nothing like shooting it. So this day and time, you've got to beat the defense, let somebody else shoot it if you can't shoot the layup. And Sears is from my neck of the woods. Sometimes I think defensively and all, Coach got a little upset, but I'm not saying he's not a good player because he's darn good. So. The other third thing I was going to talk about, because I know it's a dead time of the year, and I try to be darn sure I got something to say when I get on here, is the 12 versus 16 teams. Mm-hmm. Have y'all talked about that at all?
We've talked a little bit about it this week, yes.
I don't know the answer to it. And so by me getting on here and telling you what's going to happen in 12 or 16, I think you'll probably go 16. And the next factor is 8 or 9. 8 or 9 in the league, 8 in the league, or 9 in the league. And so I don't really know the answer to that. But I think one thing you can do y'all do such a good job with your program. Pat, all y'all can look it up and see the pluses with the 8 and the pluses with the 9. Mm-hmm. The pluses with the 16, the pluses with the 12, in your opinion. And I think it give you in this dead period a lot to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't talk about it, and so I'm not getting on here and telling you I know anything because I don't understand it. They change every time they have a meeting. They change.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, Coach, when you were the majority of your career at Alabama, and again, I know we had expansion of the conference in 1992 when South Carolina and Arkansas came in.
Yeah.
Were you always in favor of more conference games, less conference games? I know because it was split in divisions, and of course it changed a lot. But did you have one format that you liked?
You want to guess who was in the league with me when I got there? You want to guess?
Well, you got 10 teams, right?
Can you guess the team that you won't guess? You know who it is?
That when you first got in was it Georgia Tech?
How you so smart? Why'd you get? No wonder you're on the radio. You're smart. It's Georgia Tech.
Hey, Coach, you know this. Hey, Coach, you know this saying: a broke clock is right twice a day. Okay.
but I think maybe I can't remember. Paul Dietzel was big. And Paul Dietzel, there's nobody on your show that even knows who Paul Dietzel was, hardly, but he
was at LSU, was he not?
Yeah, he was at LSU to the end up. And when I get back to all the weather's good about baseball, it's not always good in Kentucky. It's cold up there. I just meant overall. So the third thing that I was interested in trying to get you to answer for me rather than me answer for the audience was the 12 versus 16. What either one of you have an opinion on that off the top of your head?
I'm in favor of the 16 because it's more games, and I'm just coming from a fan standpoint. And I think naturally that would be better for the SEC.
Okay.
I like the 16 as well, Coach.
Okay. 16 means 9, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes.
Am I correct on that?
Yes.
You tell me if I'm wrong.
No.
I've tried to study it.
No, that's kind of the line of thinking. Yeah, no, the line of thinking is if it were to go to 16, if you're going to get the 100% stamp of approval from the rest of the Southeastern Conference, especially the athletic directors and the presidents, it would be 9. But the coaches are completely opposed to playing one additional conference game, which that shouldn't shock any of us.
You're not hearing about player safety anymore, Coach.
Yeah, I'll tell you something else. You like to talk about who's going to be 1, who's going to be 2, and you can't do it because of the transfer rule. I'm going to shock you a little bit and tell you there's one team that's going to be a lot better than they were last year, and you'll hang your phone up on me. Oklahoma. Oklahoma is going to be better than they were. I know they weren't that great last year. I got all that. Oklahoma is going to be better than people expect.
Yep.
I don't know if South Carolina is going to be where they need to be. They lost some kids. I'm not sure. I had a chance to have dinner with the head coach at Alabama down in Gulf Shores, and he's a heck of a nice guy. And I know nice guys don't win championships. I got all that crap, but he knows what he's doing, and they have a chance. Did he get beat twice? Yes, and a lot of people got beat twice. So it's just what you're doing is this time of the year, or just this time in history. There's so many things basketball and changes in history. When I was coaching, my rule was to win 20 games. So I played out the games I had. I played 3 tough teams, and I played 5 I could beat. Mm-hmm. Now Nate doesn't do it that way, but all I had to do was win 20 games. And if I could win the 5 that I could win the 5 that I could beat and get them in there, then I was going to get in the NCAA tournament. And we did go to UCLA and play down in Southern Cal several times. But you have to study where you are when you're doing it. And, the NIL has changed things so much. And until they get a real ruling as to this is cheating or that is cheating, and the judge who's older than no, he's not older. She's not older than I am, but she's older than dirt. And I'm older than dirt. So she makes the final ruling, and then everybody got to go by it. And it's not easy. Hey, I got a guy I can get if you give me $50,000 more dollars. Telling your big shot on your team, the guy that runs it all. So are you gonna give him $50,000? What are you gonna try to? Is that cheating? I don't know. So it's stuff like that that's very, very, it's very complicated, and it's very, very hard to to see if everybody's going by the same rules. I'd say one thing: the guy that got fired at LSU. You getting a pile of them in North Carolina State. And I'm going to put a period after that.
Yes. He's the coach, Wimp Sanderson. He joins us every single Friday here on 3 Man Front. And, Coach, we couldn't do it without our great friends at Craneworks.
Well, Craneworks, they'll build it or they tear it down. They'll have an operator there. They'll do everything possibly can to make it safe for you. They'll be in Mobile. They'll be in Birmingham. They'll be all over the state of Alabama. Huntsville's grown so big. And I wouldn't be surprised that they didn't build this building. I'm with Ram right now. I would imagine they built this building he's in. So Craneworks is great. And Rental Works as well. If you go and you need something to rent that you can do. They will have an operator with that, and I think it's helpful.
Coach, we appreciate it.
You guys having
Yes,
me
sir.
on. Okay, thank y'all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Have a great weekend.
Y'all have you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Coach Wimp Sanderson joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. The Friday edition of Three Man Front rolls on here on Jocks 94.5.
Always a great conversation with Coach Wimp Sanderson. Barrett Salee from the Braves Radio Network. He'll join us momentarily, coming up at the top of the hour.
Our friends at Stark Exterminators, now that the summer months are here and June is home ownership month, there's no better way to take care of your home or your place of business. In fact, our friends at Stark Exterminators, family owned for over 61 years, and Stark's going to use the most environmentally sound, family-friendly products that they can to keep you and your pets, your kids, your significant other, your wife, your husband safe. Stark Exterminators, great people. Call today for the free home or business pest inspection. 855-STARK now, or go to starkexterminators.com. One of their professional team members will come to your home or place of business, inspect it thoroughly inside and out, and address any current issues that you have and any that they see that could potentially arise down the road. Stark Exterminators, 855-STARK now. Go to starkexterminators.com. And as always, tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
So the Big 12 spring meetings are wrapping up down in Orlando. We will go to Orlando coming up in a couple hours as we will talk to Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel. But Brett Yormark is meeting with the media right now, and he has just announced that the Big 12 Conference will distribute $558 million to its member schools. That is a record high for the conference. That averages out to $34.8 million per school. Now, keep in mind, BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida, they are taking a smaller share this year before becoming a full share member of the Big 12 Conference. But a record year in revenue for the Big 12 Conference. He also says that he is 100% in favor of the 5+11 model for the upcoming college football playoff format beginning in 2026. We heard him say that a couple days ago. He took credit for it, saying that he was the one that brought it up in the Power Four Conference Commissioners meeting just a couple weeks ago in Charlotte. And so now that the SEC was kicking the idea around down in Destin this week, he very quickly pounced on that fact, saying that he was the one that kind of brought this up to begin with.
Oh, good for Brett. Good for the Big 12. I just find it interesting that your media rights deal, why is someone not willing to pay top dollar like they are for the SEC and the Big 10?
They play everybody, Landrum. As he said, they play everybody.
Exactly. Why are these networks not jumping on?
He says the 5+11 model format, it's fair and it rewards performance.
Okay. All right. Save that. And then when the SEC gets six teams in or 7 teams in, then we'll come back to that.
I was thinking about that. So do you like the 5+11?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Because I think we all agree that if they go that route, that the SEC is probably going to get more than the 4 that they would get in the 4-4-2-2-1 model. Now, the 4 would be the automatic berth. I think the SEC might have the 4 and then a few other,
No, that's why I like the 5-11 because it opens the door for 5 or 6 SEC teams to get in maybe on a more regular basis, fairly regularly.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, our favorite former Arkansas head coach, and I'm not referring to Bobby Petrino or John L. Smith. Who else am I missing?
Chad Morris.
Oh, well, yeah. He was there for a very short time.
That's right.
He was.
He did not win a game in the Southeastern Conference. Pretty amazing to do that. Anyway, our good friend Brett Bielema, who is currently the head football coach of the Champaign-Urbana Fighting Illini, he took a shot at the SEC, kind of went into some detail in regards to kind of making fun of the 7-page document that was shared in Destin. And I just simply tweeted out, this is coming from a man that went 11-29 in the Southeastern Conference. Meanwhile, Eli Drinkowitz has now quote tweeted Brett Bielema saying Mizzou is 2-0 against the Big Ten in the last 2 years.
1-0. Iowa doesn't count.
Tell me he
Not
didn't
in my
tweet that
mind.
out from a cruise deck on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
With a drink in his hand and a bathing suit with no shirt on.
Drink just sitting on that big old belly right there in the chair.
What time is the captain's dinner? No, I'm just kidding.
It is 11 o'clock. Welcome back in. It is hour number 2 of Three-Man Front, Jocks 94.5. Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson, Landrum Roberts. I'm Pat Smith with you until 2 o'clock. We'll take you up to the Paul Feinberg show right here on
I love Feinberg.
Yeah, Feinberg's a good dude. He carries you home each and every day from 2 until 6 o'clock. We're going to talk a little Braves baseball momentarily. They split a doubleheader yesterday in the city of brotherly love. And, of course, there's other concerns going on with the roster currently with Smith-Shawver. So we'll get into all that now with Barrett Sully, who joins us on the Higginbotham hotline. A big win last night as they split the doubleheader with the Phillies. Barrett, I hope you're doing well on this Friday.
I'm doing better than I would have had you asked me that after Game 1 yesterday. I was joking with Conrad on Tuesday night when the Braves lost 2-0. My producer looks at me during the show and goes, "I've never seen you this mad in your life." And I was like, "I don't think I've ever been this mad in my life."
Yeah, the frustration for me last night, or the second game of that doubleheader, it was nice. I like what you posted there on social media and saying the run starts tonight, and hopefully for the Braves' sake that does.
But haven't you guys been saying that for like 2 weeks now?
Yes.
Yeah, but never really.
More than two.
I don't know if you felt this way, Barrett. I have not felt just good about this baseball team all season. And it's easy when you start 0-7, but not comfortable with this team.
Yeah, the last time I felt happy and comfort about this team was before Game 1 against San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even joking. Like, ever since then, it's, they have some good games and you're happy and, things might be good for a day or two and then it comes crashing down again. And look, that doesn't necessarily mean they can't turn it around. They might be able to. But, I mean, it's been frustrating from the word go. And I think because of that, apathy might have set in a little earlier than normal or than it should have, because, now we can sit here and say, oh, hey, in 2001, this was the record, or 2021, this was the record. In 1992, this was the record. And all those things are great. And those things would have given us hope had 0-7 not happened, right? But it did. And now it's just like, oh, God, we're going to go on one of those again. And then it's just going to come crashing down. So I don't know. Like, luckily, I did the podcast Brave Central this morning with Chris Domino, and you look at Boston, they were basically the same team as the Braves when we played them in Fenway, and now they're the same team as the Braves also, because they're just kind of dancing around 500. They dropped 4 below. They get 1 over. It's the same team. And so, I mean, maybe one of us can break out of it. Hopefully it's the home team, but it's frustrating. Luckily, looking at Boston and talking to some folks up there, they're just as frustrated as we are. So we're not alone in this.
All right, so I got to ask you, the concern about A.J. Smith-Shawver, who has been outstanding the first part of the year in the rotation for the Braves. If I understand correctly, and in reading his lips during the broadcast, he said he heard a pop in regards to his elbow. So I know it's early, and he's just not getting back to Atlanta. But what is the general feeling or the concern around the team with Smith-Shawver?
It's a season-ending injury. I think everybody knows that. That was around that team. I know he came for an MRI last night. I think he actually had it this morning, and he was just placed on the 60-day injured list about an hour ago. So I think we all know they have not announced specifically what it is, but it's pretty easy to connect some dots about what happened. It just sucks for him because he finally got a shot to do this in the regular season. It was going great. He was succeeding. He was that guy that everybody thought he could be. And then this happens. And it's sad. And I hate it for him. Luckily, he's still young. And he's resilient. Talking to him in the clubhouse, you're not going to find a guy like him, often. Just soft-spoken, doesn't act like a superstar, just goes out and does his work and is friendly with everybody and stuff. So, I hate it for him. He should be able to come back. I think he will be able to. It was weird too, because you get hit in the calf and then 3 pitches later you're out of the game. 4 pitches later you're out of the game with a season-ending elbow injury. In a season full of just weird, odd, bizarre things, it's just another one. And I hope it's not something that is, going to derail his career. And I hope the Braves can overcome it. And I think with what Bryce Elder caught, I know Bryce Elder hasn't officially been called up yet, but that's more of a, trying to figure out how to use him in the rotation because I think he pitched Sunday in Gwinnett. But it'll be Bryce. And Bryce, I think, showed all of us that, hey, he can be a pretty darn solid fifth starter in Major League Baseball over the last month and a half. So we'll see if he can do it again.
And with Smith-Shawver's injury yesterday, I read where it was actually Spencer Strider watching from the dugout, and he noticed something different with his arm, and he went up to Kranitz and kind of alerted him to it, which, if anybody would know, it would certainly be one Spencer Strider. Barrett Sallee, who is the pre- and post-game host of the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, which you can hear on Jocks all season long, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Ronald Acuna coming back, and boy, did he not make a statement last Friday on the first pitch from Pavetta, puts it 467 feet out into the bleachers. What does Ronald Acuna mean to this team? Not necessarily, we know what he can do at the plate and in the field, Barrett, but his demeanor to me seems a lot more mature this year. Have you picked up on that?
Yes. Absolutely. He's still got that fun-loving smile, but he goes about his business, I think, in a different way. We haven't seen him in the clubhouse all that much. It was open Saturday, and obviously his first game was Friday. But he's still joking, he's still having fun, but work time is work time. And he was like that before, but it's a little bit more, obvious now. Because I think he recognized, hey, to work to succeed, I got to work in every aspect. And when I'm injured, I got to work twice as hard. So, yes, his demeanor is a little bit, I wouldn't say subdued. I think he's just a little bit more laser focused on the job at hand rather than still being focused, but still having fun with a lot of people or whatever. So, and it's paid off. And, yesterday in game, was it 1? When he came in for Stuart Fairchild, I mean, he was locked in. That's not something that Ronald Acuna is used to doing. But he came in, locked in, laser focused, had those 2 hits. And I haven't looked at his average exit velocity because he's not among qualified players. But, I mean, it's got to be way up there in terms of Major League Baseball. He looks the same in terms of his production. But, yes, he's definitely more focused. He's happy to be there. He will joke around. But he's found a nice mix, I think, in how to go about his business.
You have such a cool job, and I know a lot of people, even if they're not Braves fans, just envious if they were around a Major League Baseball team and had the kind of access that you do. You being around those guys, who are some of the personalities? I kind of want to stay there. Who are some of those personalities where they're just outgoing, really good guys that you could say, you know what, I would absolutely hang out with that guy?
Austin Riley and Pierce Johnson. Austin Riley is one of the nicest dudes ever. I wouldn't necessarily call him a friend, but if we ran into each other at a restaurant or bar, we'd chit chat for a long time. We chit chat all the time. He's willing to ask about your family. Like I talked to him about, perfect game baseball tournaments, and how he operated because this is how crazy it is. My son actually found his perfect game profile.
Oh, wow.
So he was asking me all those questions. He was like, hey, ask Austin about this stuff. I was like, okay. Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, and Chris Sale have like a card collecting crew. They're big into card collecting. Pierce Johnson and I talk a lot about, stuff that he has, stuff that I have. I brought in a few that I shipped off to get graded, and he was like, holy crap, these are going to be fantastic. These are going to be 7s or 8s. So Pierce is awesome. Chris Sale has a massive Pokemon card collection.
Huh.
And it was funny when the Dodgers were in town. Shohei has all the reporters from Asia and Japan and everything, and they know Chris Sale's a Pokemon card collector, and he was showing them all off. He has this massive Pelican case that he has in front of his locker with all kinds of baseball too, but Pokemon cards that he's got graded. So they actually went. It was Dylan Lee, Pierce. I think Chris Sale went when they were in LA. They went to the PSA grading official office, like the building, and got a tour of how all this stuff happens. So those guys are really cool. I like hanging out with them because, major leaguers can't act like major leaguers, but Austin is just a dude. Pierce Johnson's just a dude. Like they like to hang out just like everybody else.
Love hearing that.
I got to ask you about what took place in Philadelphia in regards to Bryce Harper getting plunked. I did find it interesting that everybody in the media in Philadelphia wanted to make this out. Okay, there's going to be retaliation. There needs to be this. The radio broadcasters, the NBC Philadelphia guys, everyone, for the exception of Rob Thompson, who is the manager of the Phillies, who sat in the dugout I think it was yesterday, in which he basically said that, no, everybody in our locker room realizes that the pitch just got away. And
it did.
It is baseball, and these things happen. Your take on that, and do you think down the road there will be some form of retaliation by the Phillies, maybe even hitting Acuna the next time they get together?
No, this isn't like when Acuna got into it with Jose Urena. Was it Urena with the Marlins a few years ago?
Yeah.
No, I think everybody knows it was an accident. Bryce knows it. Spencer after says, I'm not some kind of sociopath. I'm not going to go head hunting, which is extremely Spencer Strider. They know it's an accident. Philly media folks, including people I know and I'm friends with, just like to stir the pot. And I love John Kincaid. I know he lived here forever. He's a good dude. He's just trying to stir the pot and be a shock jock, and I'll tell him that, and he knows it. So, think about it this way. If the Phillies retaliate because of an accident, the Braves aren't going to take that lightly. They're going to do something too. And the Phillies know that. If somebody goes headhunting after Acuna on purpose right now, it's a separate issue rather than related to, in the Braves' minds, rather than related to, Strider hitting Bryce Harper. It could escalate in a massive way. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants players suspended. Nobody wants players injured. It's, I think what the Philly media folks and like Ruben Amaro and those idiots that were talking about that stuff need to understand is, okay, if it wouldn't be retaliation in the minds of Braves players if Acuna got hurt, it would be the first salvo, and then things would get really messy. And, it's just, Philly being Philly, I guess.
Yeah. Anything that maybe we should keep our eyes on that could be coming down the pike as far as personnel moves or acquisitions as far as the roster? I know with Bryce Elder, that's natural, but anybody else?
Well, so Nick Allen got hit in the knuckles yesterday and got taken out, and Luke Williams came in at shortstop. I don't know if they feel comfortable with Luke Williams. Honestly, I saw Luke Williams and Eli White take grounders last week in batting practice in the middle infield, and it was rough. So we talked about it on the podcast this morning. Tim Anderson's still a free agent, and Tim Anderson offensively has taken a massive step back. He got released by the Angels, but he's still a good defensive shortstop. So, Nick Allen's not a world beater, at the plate. So if you want to say, hey, look, all right, Tim, come be the starting shortstop and just try to recapture some magic, maybe you go in that direction. But right now it is Luke Williams, but they're thin. There's nobody in AAA that can handle it either. So I would imagine you see a move for at least an experienced shortstop sooner rather than later, because we haven't heard about Nick Allen and his knuckles yet, but it didn't look good. Anytime you get hit up there, that's a bad spot.
Barrett, I pulled up Nick Allen's USC stats. They were ridiculous. What he did at the college level. Yeah. Yeah. You need to start hitting like that now.
He should.
He hit like 450
get
in
healthy.
college.
Ridiculous.
Which was wild. Hey, I do want to ask you this. So me and the wife were heading over, courtesy of the network for the Sunday game, but we're also going to take in Saturday's game. It's the City Connect jerseys. I've got the Hank Aaron City Connect. Is that okay for me to wear to a game?
Oh, geez. Yes.
Okay.
There was an argument on our station that kind of went viral about that.
That's why I asked you.
It's fine. Yeah. I'm going to keep my lips sealed on some of that. So, yes, you can wear it. I approve. I approve. And I'll come find you while you're wearing said City Connect.
All right. I'll text you when we get
Are you
there.
sitting in our 200 level? I assume you're sitting in our 200 level seats because
Sunday, yes. No, okay. Saturday we're home run porch.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, I'll come find you either way because basically my job entails writing down highlights and roaming around the stadium trying to figure out what to eat.
Oh, come on. We'll have lunch.
All right.
Barrett, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you this weekend.
All right, thanks, y'all.
All right, Barrett Sleeve, Braves Radio Network on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
Do something about that tree before it falls on the house. Call Golston Tree Service at 205-337-4443. Golston Tree Service handles little jobs like trimming hedges or shaping trees, hazardous jobs like line clearance, and big jobs like complete tree removals. And don't forget about the 24-hour emergency storm work service that they offer you. The number to Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443. Golston Tree Service, they could take care of you even in your hour of need in the middle of the night if these storms cause damage to your property. That's Golston Tree Service, 205-337-4443.
On the Friday text line, it's active as it always in. Great entertaining text. We'll get to them next. 3-Man Front and Jocks 94.5. $11:19, 3-Man Front. We'll get to your text momentarily. Hope you're doing well on this Friday. Have some nice weather coming up this weekend. Get the Stallions taking on the Memphis Showboats on the road at Simmons Bank Stadium there in Memphis, Tennessee. Hopefully they will draw more than, what is their average? 1,000? A little over 1,000, 2,000 fans, Conrad?
Would they have 2,000 last week, Pat? I think that was the number. So hopefully Yeah, hopefully better. But our friend Don Don, I don't know if he shared this, but if you're going to the game, they have their Horseman page on Facebook. They apparently have a section of seats they want all these Stallions fans to buy. So if you're going to the game, go look that up on Facebook.
How about our friends at Dobbs Ford right there on Parkway East? Whether it's my little sister, she did earlier this week, or our Great Jocks listeners that will text in. Just beautiful automobiles, cars, trucks, and SUVs that they bought from Dobbs. There's one reason that people go to Dobbs, and a lot of reasons to have, but first and foremost, it's the people you're going to deal with. It's the Goshen family, just people who love the Lord and they love people. And you're going to realize that it's not a sales pitch. It is genuinely who they are, and that's why they've had so much success, not only here in the state of Alabama, but where they previously were. But they want to serve the community. They want to serve you. Whether you ever buy a car, truck, or SUV from Dobbs Ford, you're going to get treated the way you expect to be treated. Dobbs Ford, Parkway East in Birmingham, Alabama's largest showroom selection. And right now, Ford employee pricing. That's right. You pay what the employees pay. 90 days until your first payment. Alabama's largest showroom selection, in addition to beating any competitor's best price. Dobbs Ford. Go and feel the difference, and make sure you tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
Can you get Damien on the phone? Is he still in the building? Or is
On
he
the
gone?
phone?
Is he on 459 right now?
Oh, you mean the naked baby?
Walking in a diaper.
No.
Oh.
Just because Taylor Swift has announced
She's quitting.
that she now owns all of her music.
Oh, she went the Garth route.
I thought you were going to say they got
Says
married.
she's
or
pregnant?
something. No, I thought you were going to say they got married.
Prego.
No, because isn't Josh Allen getting married this weekend?
He is.
Oh, I thought they were already married.
No,
I think the wedding is this
I
weekend.
think it's this weekend.
Good for them.
Won't you read People magazine?
I
Like,
know-
what do you do
Sorry, not that.
besides sleep?
Not that.
Besides sleep. See, there it is. There it is.
See, I'll just kind of work it in.
You'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Grammy winner specified that she owns all of her music, videos, concert films, album art, and photography, along with unreleased songs. She purchased her music outright with no strings attached, no partnership, full autonomy from Shamrock Capital, a private equity company that had acquired her master recordings.
Wait, okay, so this is probably a Molly question. So she just bought back the rights to her music.
Correct.
Was that not the entire point of her re-releasing all of her albums?
Well, she was re-releasing them so that she owned the rights to that music because she couldn't buy back her old music. So that's
but
why
didn't she just
was-
buy back the old music?
She just did. So now she doesn't have to re-record anymore.
So she ripped us all off. Well, not me because I didn't buy it, but she ripped off my wife and Molly for years.
She owns that stage every time she's on it.
She is a very good businesswoman.
Yeah, she is.
Mhm.
And she's worth over $1 billion.
That's why
Yeah.
Kelsey is,
In addition to Travis Kelce's heart, she now owns her own music.
I think it is incredible that he still plays football. I wouldn't be playing football anymore.
Oh.
I would have put a ring on that and I would have been, see ya. I'm going to hang out for the rest of my
maybe
life.
she doesn't want a ring on it.
Maybe not.
That's a great point, Pat.
Maybe he won't sign the prenup. Who knows?
Maybe they're already married and we just don't know.
That's also possible. No, they'd want to play it up.
You think so?
I would think Travis would. Yeah, you would have heard something about it.
Like on his podcast?
Yeah.
You think it'll be a big wedding or a small wedding?
I don't know, celebrity wedding. I feel like they're probably pretty big normally. Very extravagant.
Patrick Mahomes officiates it.
Yeah. No, they'll just get Kermit like
beloved.
Like the University of
commencement-
Maryland.
Yeah, like the commencement speech.
Yeah. You think Brittany would be in her bridal party?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Are they friends, Molly?
Who would be
Do we
in
know
her
that?
bridal party? Taylor
Wait,
Swift.
I don't even know if we know they're friends.
I think they are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Who else did she have a falling out with? Taylor. Was it Blake Lively? Did she have a falling out with her
Yeah, I think there's some beef going on there with the whole lawsuit.
too? Mm.
Is that still going on, or did they figure that out?
I have no idea. I don't really keep up with.
I
Blake
just know
Lively.
Paige got all wrapped up in that, and
And I haven't
hates
seen the movie.
Blake Lively. Now,
Yeah.
so.
So.
Hey, speaking of movies, what movie did you and Paige go see last night?
Oh, Molly would love it. It was called. It was a horror movie. It was called Bring Her Back. It was actually really good. It just came out. So. it
Who
was
plays in it? Anybody that I know?
Horror movies, you
Nope.
you typically don't get the actors
Ooh.
you generally know.
This
Maybe a
looks-
cameo of
looks-
somebody getting killed.
Yeah, it's good. It has like a 95 or something on Rotten Tomatoes. Or
Bring her home.
Bring Her Back.
Bring her
yeah,
back.
no, I'm okay.
It was very good. Like, I mean, again, Paige loves horror movies. I like them, but I don't love them like
Is
she
this
does.
is
but
this
they're
something
good.
that you could see happening in real life, or is it very sci-fi?
I sure hope not.
A brother and sister uncover a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their new foster mother.
Oh,
Yeah.
And you paid money for this?
Yeah.
104 minutes?
That's what Paige wanted to see yesterday, so we went and saw it. It was good. If you're into that kind of stuff.
did you go to the theater up on top of the hill?
How many people were in the theater?
Right by our house.
How many?
Oh, you went to the one by your house.
How many?
Yeah, in the shopping center.
Yeah.
The big one.
Mhm.
Was there more than 5?
Yeah, there were like 10.
Were there 3D glasses?
Well, we went at like 4 o'clock because we went like right after, not
Ah.
long after I got home.
Yeah,
So we could just
that's a
kinda-
great time to go.
Well, yeah, there's no one there. It was awesome. But yeah, there were like 10 people in the theater.
I love a good morning movie if they got a showing. In wintertime when it's nasty outside, before the SEC basketball schedule cranks up on a Saturday, just go and did that with Oppenheimer. It was great.
Well, and I knew she wanted to go to the movies tonight, but the Yankees are playing the Dodgers. So I was
Ooh.
like, yeah, kind of need
Yeah.
to kind of love you, honey, but
Yeah.
going to be watching that one.
Oh, so this is an Australian film.
Sure. I don't know.
They speak in Aussie accents?
Mm-mm.
No?
It says country of origin, Australia.
Well, if you're into horror movies, I highly recommend it. It is quite disturbing.
A
Though.
deadly kangaroo.
Some gross stuff in there.
But this kangaroo has a gun.
The wallaby.
What was the most disturbing thing you saw in the film?
Is it lunchtime? I guess people are eating lunch.
What the heck?
There's a child that chews on a kitchen knife.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It is disgusting.
Ugh.
That was the only part of the movie where I was like, can't do that.
I just hate that they put this on a foster mom.
It
There are
was
a lot of good foster parents out there.
Well, she is. I mean, it's not really spoilers. You figured out pretty quickly. She's not a good foster mom.
Yeah.
She has
Well,
other.
God. gave that
I kind of
away.
picked that up,
Yeah.
up on that
Based
when you
on-
described the movie.
Yeah, she's not a good foster mom. It was good though. I would recommend if you like horror movies. I would
So the
recommend it.
foster
Molly,
mom was
no.
letting one of her foster children
Chew on a knife.
I don't know how to explain it. There's something wrong with the child. The child has problems, and he is locked in a room, and he gets out of the room, and you find out pretty quickly.
Did the foster mom lock the kid in the room?
Yes, and you find out pretty quickly that it's because he chews on kitchen knives and things like that. That's why he's locked up in a room. So
You're making her physically ill. Would you please calm down with your
I'll
This
take
is
I'll
what
take peanut
graphic
butter off of a knife.
language?
Pat asked what
I'll
the
take
most
peanut
graphic-
butter off of a knife, and I'll always be very careful.
Well, that's actually how it starts. He's eating fruit off the knife, and then he
Oh!
continues to eat.
I got something to look forward to.
Yeah,
Start
that's-
chewing on knives.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If you're a fan of seeing somebody do what I do in the shower, you get that in the movie as well.
Whoa, no
Are you
way.
serious?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They sell waffles?
No.
Oh, you're talking about the other.
Just the liquid version.
If somebody's just tuning in right now, they don't know the backstory.
So yeah,
Would you apologize to Molly?
2 thumbs up. I'm sorry, Molly.
I can't do it.
I'm
This is
sorry.
I can't do horror.
Would it be better if we talked about the Kool-Aid?
The Kool-Aid pickle?
The pickle, don't
Sorry,
bring
I
that
can't hear
up.
what.
No, you just wanted to talk about the Kool-Aid
Oh
pickle
no,
now.
I'm okay.
I just didn't know
That's
which
also
one
a
was
horror movie
worse.
for me.
Which one's worse, horror movie or Kool-Aid pickle?
They're both equally as bad.
Wow, that's pretty bad. So Molly thinks that a Kool-Aid pickle is the equivalent of chewing on a kitchen knife. That's what we just learned.
That is disgusting.
While we're bringing up what we watched, not that you guys asked, but Dale Earnhardt, the documentary,
I heard that's very good.
finished parts 3 and 4 last night, and it reminded me why I actually used to set aside time to watch those races. The storylines, the personalities, the speed, and obviously safety and some of the other things that were, as a result, the newfound safety after Dale Earnhardt crashed. But I thought it was very well done.
What was that one on?
Was it Prime or Max?
Okay,
I don't think it was.
one of those.
I don't think it was Netflix. Just choose between one of the 3.
Yeah, I can. I don't know if I told you, but I did watch the Osama bin Laden documentary you talked about last week and recommended. Very good.
Yeah.
Learned a lot of things that
Yeah.
I did not know about.
Yeah. I saw another documentary I had not seen on him, and some of the things that they found on his computer which were very interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely. I will be watching Zero Dark 30 again this weekend because like watching that just like
Yeah.
gets you pumped up. You're like, yeah, yeah. It's like about to start chanting USA in my living room.
A lot of texts are rolling in 205-834-9450 on the Jocks text line. Posey chiming in and asked, did anyone say crikey in the movie?
No. There were multiple times that would have been appropriate though.
Posey also adds in the new Final Destination, someone dies from choking on a Kool-Aid pickle.
That would be so funny.
Mike says Conrad is one awful human being. COVID mask emoji. Waffle stomp is sick. He likes it, Mike. Let him do his thing.
Let me have my one thing.
Jason text in. Our new addition this week. Yes, we named her Molly from 3-Man Front. It is a cute Boykin Spaniel puppy.
What?
Oh, she's so cute. Good name.
Yep.
What a cutie.
My brother had a Boykin Spaniel. His name was Deuce. He was a good dog.
Aw. That's so sweet.
It is sweet. Thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, thank you.
Be like the morning news shows. Send us in your pet pictures.
Please.
I look, we're all dog lovers here, so you're not going to get any complaints from any of us. That's awesome.
We will continue to get your text messages, your phone calls. We'll go to Orlando, Florida at noon. Molly's Movie Minute at 12:30. All that on 3-Man Front, Jocks 94.5. NCAA baseball gets underway for Alabama and Auburn. Alabama taking on the University of Miami in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. That is a 2:30 first pitch. Meanwhile, the Auburn Tigers, they'll be hosting Central Connecticut in the Auburn Regional. That gets underway tonight from the wonderful plains of Auburn. The free roof inspection I've been telling you about is so vitally important from Abide Roofing. The fantastic local team there at Abide Roofing, they're ready to serve you today by simply calling 205-922-7134. There's no strings attached on this free roof inspection. There is no pressure whatsoever. They just want to give you an honest look at what's going on top of your roof. We've gotten over 10 inches of rain in the Birmingham metropolitan area just in this month alone. So you need to make sure everything is buttoned up. And if you've been in your attic, or unfortunately, if you see some droplets on your sheetrock on your ceiling, that means that you have got a problem on your roof, folks. And that's where Abide Roofing can come in. They are licensed, they're bonded, they're insured, they're the real deal. They helped me out years ago to not only give me a full roof replacement, but they dealt with my insurance company, and that was so vitally important. Your roof protects everything that's vital and important to you. Don't wait for a leak to show up when there's a problem. Get that free roof inspection from Abide Roofing today at 205-922-7134, or go to their website, abideroof.com.
Yeah, East Carolina up on Florida 2-0 in the early part of the Conway, South Carolina regional. And imagine this, Pat. We've actually got weather delays in other places. Not just Hoover, Alabama. We got weather
You mean
delays.
it rains anywhere else besides Hoover?
Yeah. Weird how that works.
That's nuts.
Yeah, isn't it? Text line is open, 205-834-9450. The tweet that Brett Bielema put out earlier that Pat responded to, and I thought it was a great response. This one coming from Josh. Brett Bielema talking crap about the SEC is like a used car salesman talking crap about the Maserati dealership that he got fired from.
That's good.
Well done.
That's really good.
Yep. Steve from Tuscaloosa, our buddy, says if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were to marry, they should hold the wedding in Arrowhead Stadium, charge for tickets. Taylor can then turn the wedding into a concert. Also, Landrum, can you please expand on your knowledge of the Brave City Connect uniform debate? Yeah, it was just a debate on whether a grown man should wear another man's jersey with a name on the back. That's about as far as I can go. And I would have one as a collectible. I wouldn't wear it. If I wore one with a name on the back, it would be of somebody like Hank Aaron. But the Hank Aaron jersey that I have, they didn't have names on the back, so it's just the number 44.
See, I'm fortunate because my favorite player of all time is Ozzie Smith.
And you have his last name. Van Order.
He has my my last name.
No Van Orders in Major League history, unfortunately.
Yeah, I could go Roberts on the back of mine.
You just get a Dodgers jersey. There you go.
I got the best last
name.
name.
And look, if you have an Acuna jersey or a Strider jersey, I'm not casting judgment. I was asking because I was a little bit unclear on it.
Hey, I wear my Tua jersey with pride.
Molly, are you a Swiftie? Ask one of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
What
What
makes you a Swiftie? Just her music or?
Yeah, I would consider myself an original Swiftie because I bought my first Taylor Swift album when I was 6, and it was her first album.
Was it Tim McGraw?
It was.
And Tim McGraw.
I guess I was like 6 years old, I think, when it came out.
Yep.
So I've been to like 5 concerts in my life.
That's before she got corrupted.
Sure.
By the real world.
Yeah.
Okay. This rolls in. I also enjoyed the Bin Laden documentary. It's hard to believe the world's most wanted terrorist is just sitting in his house chilling with no armed guards or suicide bombers around to protect him.
Well, that's why he had that fake concrete door and the concrete slabs.
We also found out that he was
floor.
planning to move, so he was feeling the heat, and he was looking for somewhere else to move and before he could do so. But also learned that his bodyguards, right before that point, they had kind of turned on him. They were tired. They were ready to go.
Yeah, because, I mean, there weren't, from my understanding of watching Zero Dark 30 and the documentary and reading about it, like, there weren't that many people in the house. I mean, it was, like, him and his family and then the courier or whatever. And so, yeah. That was,
a wife or two. Yeah. Also, on his videos that he would put out, how many takes he would do one slight little, and he would make them start over. and they would edit it together.
One of the things that did make my skin crawl, though, just as being, and I get it, like it's a different kind of journalism, but like I never knew about the guy
That went into the cave to
that
interview
went
him.
into a cave and sat down with
Yeah.
Al Qaeda and Osama bin Laden and did an interview. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been doing that. I'd be like, nope. I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah.
That was scary stuff.
Jimmy says my Bama jersey is the cheap one with the 18 on the back, no names, but I do want a Mahomes jersey, but I'm cheap, so there's that.
Well, you can go.
Do you have Hubbard on the back of your
Websites.
18 jersey?
I'm trying to remember if it has the name on it or not. I think it does not. I think it's just an 18, so it's a Bray Hubbard.
Will you
but it's
put that
also
in
a
the
national
rotation this
championship.
fall instead of the tour jersey on Fridays?
Sometimes.
Like when they have a road game?
I was about to say, I'll wear it. Yeah, there you go. On road games, I'll wear that, and home games, I'll wear Tua. Need a new Tua one, though. It still smells like Surströmming.
Thomas said, need the breaking news music for the AAC tournament at Legacy Arena. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. That's awesome. A lot better than wherever in Texas.
And so what year is that, Pat? Is that this upcoming season?
Upcoming season.
Yeah, it was Birmingham, and there were two other cities, I think, that had put in bids.
It was Birmingham, Tampa, and Memphis only wanted the men's basketball tournament. They did not want the women's.
Oh, that's right.
But Tampa being so far away, Birmingham, once again, being a centralized location, if you look at the AAC footprint, it's a perfect location, and the Legacy Arena at BJCC is incredible for a basketball game.
Going back to last year's college football playoff selection committee and who got chosen, who got left out, the three SEC teams that got left out. We talked about it earlier in the show when it came to metrics and if you expanded the field. Alabama and Ole Miss and South Carolina were the three teams in question. I said that Ole Miss at the time, I thought that they were playing the best. You guys said South Carolina, and it was a really good point. They were playing great. The point that we were all making is Alabama would not be that next team. This was not an Alabama-based argument. It was about the SEC. But Mark says Ole Miss last year beat the Gamecocks 27-3 in Columbia. No way in hell the Cocks get in the playoff over the Rebs last year.
That's an excellent point. And when you look at, the best win for Alabama was Georgia. The best win for Ole Miss was Georgia. And Ole Miss beat Georgia by significantly more points than Alabama did, too.
And I guess South Carolina's would have been Clemson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going back to way early in the show, Larry chimed in. He said, Larry here, great show. My aunt used to sleep with her eyes open. Used to scare the hell out of me. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Oh, that's a real thing?
Yeah.
It's a real thing. I will not say his name, but I remember Cole telling me about a guy that was in his freshman class at Auburn. I will tell you it was a wide receiver, but that he slept with his eyes open.
Is that something you have to train yourself to do, or do some people just...
I mean, your son never trained himself to do it, right?
No, it was just when he was little, like I'm talking about like before 2.
Would his eyeball be rolled back or would it be looking forward?
No, it would just be like the front part of the eyelid would be up a little bit. It's not like it was fully
I was
up.
about to say, that'd be freaky if your eyes are rolled back and you're just laying there asleep. It's nightmare fuel.
Oh, coming from a guy
Yeah,
that went to a movie to watch a kid like chew on a knife.
My question is, do you still get sleep in your eye if you don't shut your eyes?
Probably not.
Bama hater chiming in. The big boys should be campaigning for non-conference games instead of guaranteed playoff spots. I guess the SEC and Big Ten will produce a new chairman and rewrite the criteria. Well, we certainly hope so. I'm just kidding. Bama hater, have a great weekend.
Oh, he's tuned in now for the.
He's in Hattiesburg right now.
I was about to say, Bama hater, we got a big one coming up at 2:00. Mr. Quick on the bump.
And this one, I think Ronald Acuna holds the Major League Baseball record for singles on balls hit off the wall. If he runs hard out of the box and the ball goes over the wall or a homer, he doesn't get to do his styling. Acuna is all about styling. He's a little bitty boy.
Maybe he hits the ball too hard. Ball gets to the wall too fast.
One of the ones that he did not run on, it was a ball off the wall. They were playing the Dodgers. I was there with Gringo, and that was a game he got pulled. One of the games. Tell Conrad the 18 on her jersey is for 18 championships, or his jersey.
It is. Yeah, the ones without a name. Because somebody asked a couple weeks ago, why do the helmets have number 18 on them? It's because that's how many.
This is the first. This is the second conspiracy theory text that we've gotten, guys. Jerry Barnett from Hayden Do you guys think that NIL row or nil row through the Oklahoma game? I'm thinking that he did. Why does this continue? Where's this coming from? But he's not the first one that
No, someone said that the other day, didn't they?
it was a few other people. Where is this coming from?
I have no idea. But like I said the other day, I find it hard to believe that it would have been in his best interest to throw a game that could have put him back in the playoff and probably helped his NFL draft stock a little bit.
Maybe a little bit of a disturbing text here. Hey, folks, happy Filthy Friday. I'm just sitting here again in my underwear watching y'all. Looking good, Pat. Ooh.
Who's that again?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's a
Are you going back through the last text to see what they talked about?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're just being funny. Hope so. Yikes. Are you chewing on a knife? We continue 3-man front on a Friday on Jocks 94.5.
It is 11:50, Jocks 94.5. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll go to Orlando, Florida. We'll talk to Matt Murschel from the Orlando Sentinel, covers the Big 12 Conference, also the Central Florida Golden Knights. We will talk to him about what's happened there at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel as Brett Yormark wrapped up things just a few minutes ago in regards to their week-long spring meetings. Brett Yormark said the league will distribute $558 million to the member schools. That rounds out to about $35 million per school, albeit BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida. They're not full-fledged members yet from a financial point of view, so they will be a little bit less than that. Yormark said that the Big 12 favors the 5+11 model for the upcoming college football playoff format. He says it's fair and it rewards performance. Also, he mentioned that the conferences, the Power Four conferences, they do not need to notify ESPN about the future changes to the CFP format until December. So they got a little time, but the SEC would like to get it done sooner than later because they got to figure out what they're going to do from a standpoint of 8 or 9 conference games.
Are you looking for a pontoon boat this summer? Well, great news. Poorhouse Branch Marina at Smith Lake is the only dealer on the lake to have Avalon pontoons. Avalon pontoons are known for luxury, comfort, and performance, and you pair it with the most fuel-efficient engine on the water from our friends at Honda Marine. Poorhouse Branch Marina at Smith Lake also has Tahoe pontoons ready for family fun. Get it today with the in-house financing. See it all at PoorhouseBranchMarina.com.
So we told you a little bit earlier that some folks have been having a lot of fun on social media, making fun of the SEC in the 7-page document that was sent out and gave out yesterday to the members of the media covering SEC spring meetings in Destin, including Chris Hassel, who is a Big Ten wonk. He is on the CBS Sports Network, also does a podcast. He's an Iowa Hawkeye. He says, ring me back when you had a 9th conference game and stop playing FCS teams in November. So that was his shot at the SEC. You had Brett Bielema earlier this morning take shots. Matter of fact, he gave a 3 or 4 point example of the making fun of the SEC in regards to what they had sent out yesterday. And Eli Drinkwitz quote tweeted Brett Bielema and said, well, Mizzou's 2-0 against the Big Ten Conference the last 2 years. Thought that was funny. Also yesterday, so Adam Rittenberg, who is a frequent guest on this program from ESPN, does an outstanding job covering college football.
Good people.
He is based in Chicago, so mainly he covers the Big Ten Conference. He tweeted out, worth saying no league dominates the media discussion like the SEC. A whole week of media at the spring meetings while the Big Ten did none at its meetings last week. Smart on the SEC's part, especially coming off a season where the league was objectively a bit down. Fair tweet.
Yeah.
Don't have anything to say about that. Well, Peter Burns decided that he was going to quote tweet Adam Rittenberg and said the following. The Big Ten is quiet because they understand over half of their league is hot garbage and only prop up the small amount of true quality contenders they have. They run a highly successful college football Ponzi scheme. I laughed out loud on that one. Thought that was a great line.
Yeah, it is a good line.
Calling half the Big Ten Conference hot garbage, and then they run a highly successful college football Ponzi scheme.
Yes. Bowl games are bowl games. It's just, unfortunately, I think the head-to-heads and people look at the bowl games like South Carolina and Illinois, and that's going to be their final verdict, or in Alabama and Michigan. But I whether it benefits the SEC or the SEC comes up on the losing end, I look at bowl games for what they are now. And that is a team is a shell of themselves.
This was what Brett Bielema tweeted. He said, great work talking about the SEC, sending out the portfolio. Headed into the weekend, maybe have this extremely talented working group look at the running the numbers on, 1, the last 2 to 3 years where legal NIL and portal transfer rules have balanced rosters like never before. 2, look at head-to-head in the same time frame, head-to-head with Power 4, especially with a possible big SEC challenge that is being discussed. 3, and there is no better reality than recent history for reality, maybe the 2025 season playoffs and bowl matchups head-to-head. Can't wait for that press release.
I just like that at the beginning he's. Do you read that as he's insinuating that the Big Ten? Oh, that we never paid any guys. The SEC, y'all were paying guys long before. That's why you dominated. We never did that.
Yeah, careful throwing stones. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, he did nothing when he was at Wisconsin.
I'm sure.
0.
I'm sure.
Pure as the driven snow in Madison.
Ohio State and Michigan never paid for their players.
Well, even in today's NIL and as much money is changing hands, just make sure everything's on the up and up.
It is 12 noon on this Friday. Welcome back in. This is Three Man Front, Jocks 94.5 SEC spring meetings wrapped up in Destin, Florida. We're now going to go to the central portion of the state of Florida. Matt Murschel, outstanding college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel, covers the college football world and also the UCF Knights for that outstanding paper there in Florida. The Orlando Sentinel joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Matt, I hope you're well. I know things have just wrapped up or wrapping up as we speak in downtown Orlando. How's the week been? I know Brett Yormark's had some comments over the last couple of hours, and it's been very entertaining to see the back and forth between these conferences.
Yeah, it actually has. It's been pretty good. I think this is the first time the Big 12 has hosted held their spring meetings here in Orlando. They're trying to kind of move around to different spots, and so it was a good few days. A lot of lively discussion. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the House settlement and the rev share model being kind of debated. You've got obviously the college football playoff, model of expansion being talked about. You've got we had Charlie Baker the other day, and he's the NCAA president. He spoke about expanding the NCAA tournament, and so transfer portal, NIL, all sorts of things are going on, and so there's a lot of discussion among the, administrators and coaches around here.
Matt, I'm curious, as someone who covers the Big 12, when Brett Yormark came in, I don't have anything against Brett Yormark now, but it's just interesting how he goes about it in his daily business, and it seems like he's more outspoken. You've been covering the conference. How has maybe his demeanor, his delivery changed since he first took that office?
Well, I don't think it's changed much. I mean, I just think this is a very confident guy who came into this job. I mean, and I think that's part of who he is. And I think that's one of the attractive options. But when the conference was looking to get a new commissioner, was they wanted somebody who wasn't going to kind of, fall into the shadows, so to speak. When you're talking about the college landscape, they wanted someone who could really be at the forefront. He was willing to give out, his opinion, his ideas. And he was a guy who was not an academic, from a university. He wasn't an athletic administrator. He was a guy who had connections, really in the business world. And so far, I think it's paid off really well for them. He salvaged a conference that was, on the brink of collapse. And now you look at going into his third year of this. I mean, the conference has really exploded. And yes, they're not on the same financial level as the SEC and the Big Ten, but they've been able to find ways to try to make up some of that ground, more so than maybe a lot of people thought they were going to be able to do it. So, and he's got the voice now. I mean, even today, he was asked about, Greg Sankey's comments this week about, the statement that he had about, what's best for college, college athletics. And Brett made a joke about it and said, yeah, I think it's funny that, he thought I was going to react to it. And of course I'm going to react, you know what I mean? And but he said everybody is on the same page. So that's the kind of voice you want from a commissioner. It's something that we've been able to get from him the last few years.
All right, so let's talk about the 5+11 model that I know that Brett Yormark has obviously been championing, and he has been talking about over the course of the last few weeks, including that meeting he had with the other Power 4 commissioners in Charlotte, against the 4-4-2-2-1+3 model that's been having a lot of conversation in the Southeastern Conference. Kind of talk about where the Big 12 is from that angle. I know what Brett has said. Are they vehemently opposed to the 4-4-2-2-1 model? And are we talking about legalities? Are we talking about them and the ACC trying to potentially sue to block the Big Ten and the SEC for maybe strong-arming that policy for 2026? What are you hearing on that front?
Brett said this a little bit ago that, listen, they're in favor of the 5+11. He feels like that is really the best model. It allows the decisions to be made on the field. The best teams will win on the field. He says they've been pushing on that. Obviously, the ACC has been in discussions with that. He was really encouraged by the fact that some of the SEC coaches were in favor of the 5+11 and felt like that was an opportunity maybe to continue to showcase that. There's not been any discussion about legal recourse or suing or anything like that. He said, they want to get everyone on the same page. They want to be able to kind of have these discussions and get this work through. And the one thing he pointed out that I don't think has been talked about a lot is he said, we don't have to have a decision until December. We don't have to let ESPN know about a decision until December. And so he feels like they have some time there. As much as the clock is ticking, it's not like they have to have a decision done in the next month. So I think there's going to be more lively discussion about this. I think all these conferences are going to try to get together. I mean, if I'm the Big 12 and the ACC, I'm not sold on this idea of allowing the SEC and the Big 10 to get those 4 AQs, and then you have to settle for 2. I think you want to try to be able to get as much as you possibly can. Some years you're going to get more, some years you're going to get less with a 5+11. So to me, I think that's why they're pushing it as strongly as they've been.
And we had a lot of different sound bites, as you can imagine, from Destin with SEC spring meetings going on. A lot of different quotes, some that we didn't expect, like one from Kirby Smart, who just kind of out of nowhere said, something that he thinks is the biggest deal to him right now, and that's having 2 transfer portals and having that transfer portal in the spring and doing away with it. Any of those curveballs that you were thrown from anybody there in Orlando around those meetings that you didn't see coming heading into the week?
No, not really. I mean, I think that you're right. The 2 transfer portal windows was a huge topic here among the football coaches. They said the coaches agreed that they're all in favor of having 1 window. They'd like to have it in January if they possibly could, maybe after the playoff games if possible. They talked a lot passionately about the idea of how really it's become a chore for them in a lot of ways, dealing with that. Scott Frost, for instance, who's taking over at UCF again, he had 2 transfer windows he had to deal with this time around. And, he's got 60 new players on his roster. And, he had to continue to, after the first portal window, he had to come back in spring and had to lose 20 more players and had to find a way to make up all those. So it's definitely frustration from coaches, and they feel like this is something that they'd like to, get this kind of taken care of and move forward on. I don't think it was a curveball, but I thought Charlie Baker really kind of promoting the idea that they want to expand the NCAA tournament maybe as soon as next year. It seems really kind of, I know they've been talking about it, but, it seems like that is really gaining more momentum than we've seen in the last couple months. And, if they can get everyone on the same page, they'd like to see that the tournament go from 68 to either 72 or 76 teams. So that was probably the biggest news for me that I felt like just kind of came out of the blue.
Matt Murschel joins us here on the Higginbotham Hotline on 3-Man Front, covers college football for the Orlando Sentinel, the UCF Knights. He joins us here talking Big 12 spring meetings as it wraps up there in Orlando. Yormark mentioned this morning a record payout, $558 million to member schools. That averages out around 34, right at $35 million per school. And, of course, BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida, they do not get the full shares as of yet. But it seems like that because of all these media deals that Brett Yormark has been able to consummate in his time as commissioner, that it seems like that the Big 12 is on excellent financial footing in regards to where they currently are and where they're going.
Yeah, he mentioned the record, but he also talked a little bit today about, they start a new 6-year deal, with ESPN and Fox, and that deal really helps expand them. They also have options with their partners to TNT and HBO Max and things like that. And he really said, this is a great opportunity for us, as a conference. They have the ability now to really be on a lot of eyes, and during the prime windows, where they feel like their conference is going to be able to be showcased. And I think that's something that's important to them. And getting the product out there, getting the league out there, and getting its top teams on big-time games and prime time or national television, that's just something that they want to see more of, because I think that's going to help them out. And it's definitely something that he's worked really hard at getting, and then he continues to try to work harder. Believe me, when the next round of media rights deals come about in about the 2030, 2031 area, he's going to want to be at the forefront. Again, they're not probably going to be able to catch the SEC or the Big Ten, but they feel like if they can just make up some ground and make that gap not so deep, that it's going to be helpful for them in the long run.
Matt Murschel joining us here on 3-Man Front. He is a college football writer for the Orlando Sentinel, also covers the UCF Knights, and that's where I want to go next, Matt. Scott Frost and coming back and taking over that program. Gus Malzahn now back to the OC ranks there in Tallahassee. What have you learned about Scott Frost in the few months that he's been back, and maybe how much he has learned from his experiences, especially the one that he had in Lincoln?
Well, I think the big thing is that he understands that this is not going to be easy this time coming back. He really wanted to come back to Orlando. It felt like when he left the first time, really wasn't he felt like he had to leave just because of the fact that Nebraska was calling and, all the story about, him being his family being there and him being an alumni and played there. And Tom Osborne's like a second father to him, and he felt like he had to take that job. Well, this time around, he feels like this is the perfect setting for him, and he feels like this is an opportunity where he can have some success. The biggest challenge for him right now has been, he hasn't been a coach for a while, and he's missed out on those things like the two portal windows, and he's missed out on NIL the way NIL is now, and now you're getting into rev share coming up and things like that, and it's been a challenge for him. He admitted. I asked him the other day, how have the first 5 months gone for you? He said it's been fun, but it's been hard. I mean, because you have to realize all these things that you didn't deal with in the past, now you're dealing with now. And I think he's gotten a lot more patient. I think he understands exactly what's in front of him. He understands that things didn't go well in Nebraska. But he's not going to dwell on that. He's got to turn around and find a way to get back at it. He was doing fine in the NFL as an analyst. He told us this the other day. I didn't have to take this job if I didn't want to, but he said, but when it came open, I felt like this was the right opportunity. And that's eventually what ended up happening is he just decided, okay, this is the chance for me. I'm never going to get this chance again to do this. Let's do it right now.
Matt, before we let you go, I just wanted to get your perspective on this because you have been around those executives and you're well connected throughout college football, not just in your neck of the woods. But I am curious, June 18th is the next meeting of the college football playoff executives, less than 3 weeks. When these guys get together, do you anticipate that they're going to finally coalesce and they will come together and we're going to have a better idea in regards to what's going to happen? Or do you think this thing is going to be kicked down the road until we get to December?
I'm not sure if it'll get kicked down the road. I mean, I think they have a better idea. This is more of a unified front. I think they want to feel that way. I don't think it'll get done that day, but I think they're going to have opportunities. You know what I mean? I think there's going to be, they want to make their impression. I'm sure the Big 12, the ACC, they want to make their case and explain why this wants to happen. And hopefully everyone gets on the same page. That's what all the executives would like to see happen. That's what commissioners want to see happen. But if it doesn't, it's not a good look for college football. It's not a good look for college athletics in general. I mean, I've had fans, I'm sure you get the same thing, who are upset by the changes that are going on. And, if you can't decide on something like this, what does that say about what's going on with the sport? So I think they would love to get on the same page. They'd love to get this done and handled. But I still think it's a process. I still think it's going to take them a little bit of time.
Matt Murschel, a wonderful job, and we're always so thankful to have him. College football writer for the Orlando Sentinel and Tribune, and also covers UCF. Matt, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can catch up here in the coming months of the summer.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
You as well. Matt Murschel joining us, as all of our guests do, on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services.
So, the rain's getting out of here, which means it is going to be a beautiful day this afternoon and this weekend to get out to Courtesy GMC in Trussville. It's a very short drive. Anywhere you're in Metro Birmingham, heck, anywhere around the state, you can get to Birmingham and Trussville very easily, right off of I-459. That is exit 32. And right now, these end-of-the-month savings, they are through the roof. The inventory on the 9-acre lot is the best you're going to find anywhere. How about $11,000 off MSRP on the highly sought-after four-wheel drive AT4X Sierra 1500, multiple in stock to choose from. Up to $14,000 off MSRP on the Sierra four-wheel drive SLT and the Sierra Denali Ultimates that are currently in stock there at Courtesy GMC. Let me give you another one. How about up to $10,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Sierra 2500 HDs in stock? Courtesy has the lowest prices in the Southeast on all new GMCs, and I just gave you a little snippet of what you can save on the very best that GMC has to offer. CourtesyBirmingham.com, that is the website to Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Get by and see them, the showroom. You will not miss any of the NCAA baseball going on. They've got TVs all throughout the showroom. It's a great place to go and hang out and take a look at that 9-acre inventory, both the new GMCs and the pre-owned inventory. That's CourtesyBirmingham.com.
We open it up to your phone calls, discuss a little bit of what we just talked about with Matt Murschel, your text as well. We're still getting your dog pictures rolling in on the text line, and we love those. We can do that. We can call it a Furry Friday here on Three Man Front as we continue on Jocks 94.5. 12:18, three-man front here on Jock 94.5. Landrum, Conrad, Pat, and Molly. Molly's Movie Minute coming up at 12:30. Don't want to miss that as she reviews the original, the OG, Bad News Bears. You like that, don't you, Conrad?
I do like that. That's my favorite part of the song. Who would have guessed it?
Who would have guessed
Who
that?
would have guessed it?
Speaking of Alabama, you got baseball regional play as they take on the Miami Hurricanes in Hattiesburg, a part of that regional. Auburn taking on Central Connecticut State tonight, 6 o'clock at Plainsman Park. We'll keep you updated on all the scores. A lot of SEC flavor when it comes to college baseball and the regionals. Right now, not going so well for the Florida Gators. They have played 3 innings, and East Carolina up on top of Florida, 6-0. Top of the 5th inning, North Carolina leading Holy Cross 3-0, and they had some rain there in Athens, Georgia, as the Bulldogs are still in a delay as they take on Binghamton. So we'll keep you updated as the scores continue to roll in on a college baseball regional Friday here on the show. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. Eric, thank you. Eric sending in his dog picture, his puppy pics. Appreciate that. We've gotten several of those today. Always make us smile. Here's another one rolling in. Ah, look at that rascal. Molly.
Oh, what a cutie.
What kind of dog is that?
I have no idea.
It's a little dog.
He's so cute, though. I
Little-
like this. This
little
is
fella.
fun. We should do this more often.
Yeah, we turned Filthy Friday into Furry Friday, which is not a bad thing. More pup pics coming in. This one is she is dressed up in her Alabama gear, and she's got Argyle socks on.
Look how cute. Is that a little bow?
A little bow.
That's so
She's
cute.
got a little bow in the hair. Thank you for that one. And we get a roll tide. We don't have a dog, but Romeo adopted us.
Oh, I love cats.
Big old cat.
That's
Black
such a
and
cute
white cat
cat.
on his Kubota tractor. Love it. Thank you for sending that in. Yeah, if you got cat pictures, that's fine. Send them in. We'll continue with your text, the ones that we can read on the air. 205-834-9450. We will get to your phone calls. Some of the news coming down this morning, you're going to have the American Athletic Conference basketball tournament at Legacy Arena beginning this next season. That's super good news, and I'm sure that comes to the delight of one Andy Kennedy. Blazer is in Hueytown. He wants to talk AAC tournament. Hey, Blazer, how are you?
Landrum Roberts, Pat Smith, Molly, and Conrad. You're about to witness greatness next March inside the Legacy Arena when the Blazers win the conference tournament championship. Yeah, I
Yes.
said it. 4 years in a row, make it 5.
Love it.
Hey, how about those East Carolina Pirates?
They are
Love it.
Looking
Love
pretty
it.
good right now.
They are looking really
Laying
good
down
right
the
now.
hammer on those populous Gators.
Yep. We have not heard from PG or
We
Drake
are
this
the-
morning.
We are the Americans.
Yep. East Carolina's
Love it.
great. Yep. Yep.
I love it. I'm not an SEC fan at all.
We couldn't
I
tell.
am not.
We could not tell. Well, Blazer, we appreciate it. We're excited for you, and we will be with you there at Legacy Arena when we get the conference tournament.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yes, I will be.
Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Let's go to Pat's old buddy, Cowboy. Hey, Cowboy.
Cowboy, what's happening?
How you doing there, guys?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying to see what you guys think came out of SEC Sankey days.
Have you warmed?
Sankey.
Hey, Cowboy, have you
Sankey
warmed
days. I
up
like
to the
that.
idea of Kalen DeBoer being your head football coach?
Oh, no, I'm, you know, I'm I'm still out there.
Okay.
If he can have a tenure at Alabama like Dennis Erickson had at Miami, I think they're a lot alike. I guess it'd be a good tenure. I don't think he'll be there 17 years, that's for sure. But maybe I'm wrong.
I like the way you put it, Sankey Days. That should be the new title of Destin.
He would like that.
That was good. I like that, Sankey Days.
Yeah. So I think we need a 9-game schedule. I like the 8-game schedule, and what I would really like to see is go 8 games to make the whiny Orange pick Oklahoma over the Aggies and watch the Aggies cry that they're ducking them, but they're going to pick Oklahoma over Texas A&M.
Okay, so all right, well, let me ask you this question. All right, let's say that they stay at 8. One of the biggest complaints now, because the conference is so big, is that you don't have enough of a rotation in regards to the teams that you play. And so the general feeling is that if they do stay at 8, there's going to be some of these secondary rivalry games are going to go by the wayside because they want to have a more of a well-represented nature of playing as many teams as you can in your conference. Because, for example, Georgia has never visited College Station. They have never played Texas A&M.
That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And there's other examples in the conference of stuff like that. So if there was a secondary rivalry, and you know what I'm talking about, the LSU or Tennessee's, you being an Alabama fan, which one of those would you be okay with not playing on an annual basis if you stayed at 8 games? Because the Iron Bowl is not going anywhere. So which one of the secondary rivalries are you willing to give up to have an 8-game schedule?
Well, I thought with an 8-game schedule, you were going to have to give both of them up.
No, I think you're going to be able to.
We would keep Auburn, and then we would give up Tennessee and LSU, and then you would play them twice every 4 years, right?
And perhaps every other year. But I'm just saying, if you were able to keep one of them, though, but which one would you keep?
Well, Auburn.
No. That goes without saying. You're going to keep Auburn. I'm saying LSU or Tennessee. Which one would you be okay to keep? Tennessee. Okay.
The modern day version of me likes LSU better, but I'm trying to give the old timers something. So.
Well, that's what I said, Cowboy. I said 5 years ago I would have said LSU, but now that Tennessee's gotten the best of Alabama a couple times, I think it's easier to pick them again.
Yeah. Well, I like that LSU rivalry, but I just don't think we need 9 conference games. I mean, then we're going to have 3 and 4 loss teams thinking they ought to be in the playoffs. I mean, you know what? Oh gosh, y'all trying to get me to rile up the folks, I guess. But I don't think these playoffs are the Alabama Invitational. You have to earn your right into them.
But do you think an 8-game conference schedule gives you or earns you the right to be in the college football playoff based on these other conferences playing 9?
Yeah, but we're still. I mean, we still play the West Virginia series, the Notre Dame series. You would still have some good intersectional games, home and home. I mean, who wants to add Alabama and say they add Kentucky next year as the 9th game? I mean, would you rather see them play Kentucky or would you rather see them play Ohio State? I'd rather see them play Ohio State than Kentucky.
Well, I think a lot of people would, yeah.
Yeah, or play Washington home and home. That way Kalen could go see his daughter practicing softball. Something like that. Or go back, play USC or play Oregon. I mean, I'd rather see that than play Vanderbilt or Kentucky. No offense to Kentucky or Vanderbilt, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying there.
No, I do.
The 8-game schedule, because I just think it gives the conference a more balanced look. We're going to NFL model, except we don't have a salary cap. But, you know, the NFL cross-sections back into the National Football Conference and the American Football Conference. You know, you play every year. The Cowboys are going to play 4 teams from the AFC. I think this year they have the AFC West. So that, you know, that way your schedule, but they don't have as many teams. But you got some balance, and just playing 9 SEC games, I think the fans will get bored with it.
Some great thoughts, Cowboy. Got some big plans for this weekend. You going to go see the Cardinals and the Rangers play this weekend? They're at Globe Life?
Oh, I know. I'll probably watch it on TV. I don't understand. I hope I don't offend you here. I understand all the love for the Cardinals. They tell me, you know, if you ever go to a St. Louis Cardinal game, you'll feel like you went to the Cathedral of baseball.
That is
to
true.
But to me, I'm a Red Sox fan, but going to Fenway or Yankee Stadium to me would be better than going to St. Louis. But they've got a great following, you know. But St. Louis is kind of on hard times, aren't they?
Yeah, they've won 18 of their last 23. So yeah, they're on tough times right now.
Oh no.
Oh well.
Is Kumar Rocker pitching any games or Jack Leiter? Now that'd be a reason to go watch him.
Yeah, I need to check. I've not
They're
looked
not
at
doing
the
super hot from what I've seen.
the Rocker and Leiter.
I know Rocker was not. I don't know
Okay.
about Leiter, but
Yeah, I'll have to
No.
look at the pitching probables
How
for the
about your
weekend.
Hewitt Trussell Husky today here in about an hour? You fired up for him pitching?
Absolutely, Riley Quick. Matter of fact, the latest Baseball America has Riley Quick going in the top round in the baseball amateur draft. Yep. So
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Hey, I want to do a shout out for that Tennessee player that gave some of his NIL money back to Hewitt Trussell. That's what it's all about right there.
Yep, Ricky
That's
Gibson.
What it's all about.
Yep, Ricky
Yeah.
Gibson sure did. Gave $5,000 to the football program. So
Yeah, now that's giving back to what gave to you. That's what it's all about.
absolutely.
That-
Hey, Cowboy,
that's
we
a
need to
big
run, but we appreciate your
Big deal.
call.
Well, you didn't tell me what you thought about the 8 versus 9 deal, really.
No, I personally like 9 because I think 9 would give you the opportunity to do some cross scheduling with the Big Ten, and I think that would really be great for both conferences. But that's just my opinion. Thanks, Cowboy.
So you're bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much. Molly's Movie Minute is next here on Three Man Front. It is 1235, Jocks 94.5, 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. Appreciate everybody chiming in today, sending some puppy pics on the text line. We always appreciate that very much.
I've got a few that got passed along, but I think I have a new favorite name for if we get another pup, a male dog named Axel.
It's a good one, like Axl Rose.
Yeah, and that's
Beverly
actually
Hills Cop.
the name of.
I know.
It's
I was
Axel-
thinking Axl
Rose.
F.
Yeah, Axel
Yeah.
Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was Axl Rose. But thanks for all the puppy pics. Those are awesome.
We do this every Friday. If you're new to the program, during this time of the year, the late spring, early summer, Molly, who was extremely busy as a young person, did not have an opportunity to get to the theaters or to watch VHS or DVDs a lot.
She was buried in her studies.
Yes, very much so. She was a world traveler, too.
She was.
This is true.
Yes.
So we have assigned her movies each and every week that you, the listener, vote on each and every week to assign to her to watch the movie, and then she reports back to us every Friday. This is what we call Molly's Movie Minute.
It's time for Molly's Movie Minute. Cinematic insights with expert critiques and analysis. And now, let's journey through the world of film with Molly Robinson.
Oh.
Come on, Molly!
I'm already laughing. So this week the movie was Bad News Bears, but the original one, I believe the year was 1976 when this one came out. Starting this off, I loved this movie. I'm not kidding you. I was in tears laughing so hard. Almost fell off my couch because I was laughing so hard.
So last week you were crying because it was an emotional,
It was
tear-jerking.
sad, emotional, yes.
But this was laughter.
No, this
last week was Good Will Hunting, right?
It sure was. So a very quick 180 from Good Will Hunting to Bad News Bears. For me, this movie was kind of like a crude version of The Sandlot. You had a bunch of kids. Obviously, you had the drunk baseball coach and whatnot. But I will say, I felt like this movie actually did teach like a good lesson at the end of the movie about, being in Little League, underdog story, how parents can act when they're at the ballpark, or parents of young athletes in general. But like I said, most importantly, this movie had me in tears laughing so hard.
So you enjoyed it. What were the negatives, the takebacks from the movie?
Maybe some of the language, probably. But honestly, I thought the kids were hilarious.
Tanner Boyle was great.
Oh, he was great. He was awesome. And like the relationship started to build, and I loved how the girl was the pitcher. I thought that was awesome too. I wrote down so many quotes from this movie.
Did you clean them up?
I did. A lot of them I can't read. The chubby kid that played catcher was so funny. Like, I'm just going back through my notes.
Oh, just wait till they get to the Astrodome.
And then when Lupus, the little kid, was making him a martini at the pool, lost it. Hey, you can't drink and drive. That's illegal. Yeah, so is murder.
You tell Molly really enjoyed this one.
This is good.
It was awesome.
Give us some other quotes.
Where's our shortstop? Are you the shortstop? Oh, it was hilarious.
All right, so, I mean...
Again, a lot of them I can't read, but they are, in fact, written down.
So did your parents give you any kind of heads up before you saw the movie? Like kind of give you a plot description or anything like that?
No, they didn't actually. I knew nothing going into this movie, which is
just
typical.
It was a baseball movie.
Yeah, it was a baseball movie. I will say I still think I like Major League better, but this one is still on up there for me. Like for me, nothing will top Major League or Sandlot, but this is just right, maybe like one notch below. I loved it though. I seriously loved it.
Walter Matthau is an actor. I loved him in Grumpy Old Men,
He was
a lot of the
awesome.
different stuff that he was in, but yeah, solid.
So this is the third one in this series for this year, right?
Yeah, because there's Good Will Hunting, and then the first one was
Goonies.
crap. The
The
Goonies.
Goonies.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
This
And
movie
so,
was awesome.
so three very highly
Yes.
touted movies, according to Molly.
Thank you to the listeners because y'all have hit a home run in terms of picking the movies for me to watch every week so far. I have loved all of them. And the jerseys, by the way, with the bail bonds.
Chico's bail bonds.
For a little league team. Hilarious.
I tried a couple of years to try to get that jersey.
Oh, really? That would be
to have my team.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Well, they have them on Amazon. They're on sale.
Well, again, Molly, when my kids were young enough to where I was coaching them,
I feel
Amazon
like some of the other
Amazon was not something that I had access to.
and maybe some of the other parents wouldn't have gotten the joke.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I could see that being an issue.
But the ending, even though they lost, they were still celebrating with beer and whatnot. That was a little wild, but I guess that was the 70s. Not that
Yeah.
I would know.
Kids drank back then.
Hey, Yankees, you could take your apology and your trophy and shove it up your...
Well, I'm just telling you, like
was
later on
great.
in the summer, we need to
Yeah.
get her to watch
Yep.
going, Bad News Bears and
Astrodome.
breaking training.
Oh, I saw there were a bunch of movies.
Mhm.
Yeah, don't watch the Billy Bob Thornton one. That one's terrible.
No.
No, but
Breaking training is where you can stop.
yeah, because when they go to Tokyo, and then it starts.
Oh, they got
It, it gets so far.
It's
out
like
there.
the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh.
It's like, how many times do we need to do this?
Right.
See, and I've seen a lot of those, but because
Fast and
there's so
Furious?
many, I couldn't tell you which one. It's like they all run together for me.
Well, they're all about family.
And cars.
It's all the same movie to me.
See, same.
Yeah,
I
I don't particularly like those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would rather go watch kids eat.
Chew on knives.
Yeah, chew on knives.
It's art, Pat. Come on.
Is it? All right, so the choices that we gave the audience this morning, and you voted at a very high clip. Here were the 4 options: Dead Poet Society, No Country for Old Men, Office Space, or The Prestige. And coming in with 39% of the vote, beating the second place movie by 6 percentage points, is Office Space.
Yes.
The
Yes.
1999 dark satirical comedy. I think were you a fan of The Office?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
This
I'm
is
not-
one of my favorite movies ever. It's
No.
so good.
I'm not the type of person where I've seen The Office like episode 1 through the end, but when it's on, I've watched it.
I got to tell you during the break one I saw last night.
Okay.
Oh, it's
Just don't be a Milton, Molly. That's all I can say. Don't be a Milton.
Noted.
I can see Molly working at shenanigans.
Oh, with all her flair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll like it.
Yeah, if you enjoyed these, I think you'll be crying laughing again.
Perfect. Those are my favorite kind of movies.
It's deep.
I like to laugh.
and it's so funny that Mike Judge, who wrote Office Space, wrote Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also King of the Hill. And King of the Hill is coming back to Hulu.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Mm-hmm. So
Now I know what I'm getting myself into.
Propane and
Yeah, and propane accessories.
propane accessories. Bobby.
I was about to say, I'm trying to think if there's anybody. I mean, Jennifer Aniston's in Office Space, but I'm trying to think if there's anybody else off the top of your head that you'll recognize.
Oh.
But yeah, Jennifer Aniston's probably the biggest one.
Gary Cole, I mean, he's a character actor.
She'll
Is that the
recognize.
boss?
Yeah, Gary Cole. She'll
Okay.
definitely recognize him.
Ron Livingston, who played in, obviously, Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
And played in...
And
Yeah, the
then-
main character.
And then the guy, I forgot the sitcom he was in, but Dietrich, is it Bader? Again, it's the face. You'll recognize the face.
Yeah,
but
I was about to say, there's people in the movie you'll be like, oh, I know who that is.
Okay.
But Jennifer Aniston's.
No, you'll like Office Space.
Perfect. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
I've never
Thanks,
talked to
listeners.
anyone who did not like Office Space.
Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what did you give this one?
I gave it a 4.
Is that the lowest you've given out of the 3?
No, out of the 3.
This year.
I think I gave Goonies either a 4 and a 4.5.
Yeah.
I know I gave Good Will Hunting a 5. But I mean, a 4 is still very high.
What was it? Benchwarmers? You gave a 3.5?
No, I gave a 2.
Or 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Last
This
year.
Was
movie-
that the worst one?
Yes. This movie was way better than Benchwarmers.
Yeah, don't even compare.
It's like, yeah, just.
Yeah.
But the reason why I gave it a 4 was because I think I gave Hoosiers a 5, which obviously Hoosiers. I gave Major League a 4.5, and like I said, I love this movie. But I would probably, for my personal ranking, I would probably rank them in that order. So that was why.
If
I
I
still
can,
loved it,
if I can
though.
remember when you selected Benchwarmers, it was a selection of 4 terrible movies, and
yes.
you picked.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I didn't hate it. Hate's a strong word. I feel, and I think I said this when I reviewed Benchwarmers, I think I would have liked it better if I was an 8-year-old boy.
I was about to say, when I saw it when I was 10 years old, I thought it was hilarious. As an adult,
A little
not a
different.
great movie.
Yeah.
But
I
as a
mean,
kid, it's very fun.
It's fine. Just, like many more sports movies better.
But so after this week, we'll have to go back to bad movies because we've given you too many good ones in a row.
I like the good movies.
Got to get some
Pee-wee's Big
suspenseful
Adventure.
horror.
No.
Yeah, you want to watch the movie? Maybe we'll wait until the end of the summer. It'll be on streaming, I'm sure, in a month or two. You can watch that one.
I'm okay.
No horror movies for her.
I won't watch it.
I don't think we can deal with it as a show.
No.
Just the emotional scars that it will leave.
It will.
I do want to see the bear snorting the cocaine.
We do need to watch that.
All right, that's this week's Molly's Movie Minute. When we come back on Three Man Front, we'll give you an update of what's going on in the NCAA baseball tournament as the Florida Gators have hit a couple of home runs. Is that the fifth inning, Landrum?
Yeah, top of the fifth.
Top of the fifth inning, but they're still losing to
Yeah.
East Carolina.
9-2.
9-2. So 2 dingers in the inning for Florida, but unfortunately they
Pirates.
trail by 7.
They're raking.
To East Carolina. So we'll give you an update on that and the rest of the NCAA baseball bracket. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5.
$12.49, three-man front, Molly's Movie Minute Review. The Bad News Bears, she loved it. Office Space is up next from Molly. We'll get a review on that next Friday. 9 to 5, Dolly Parton. You love Dolly.
I do love Dolly.
Have you seen the movie?
I think so. Long time ago, though.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Well, I have to revisit that one. NCAA baseball regionals going on right now. Not great news for the Florida Gators taking on East Carolina out of the American. Pirates leading 9-2 over Florida as they play in the top of the 5th inning. Also, North Carolina on top of Holy Cross 4-0 as they play in the bottom of the 6th. And Wake Forest trailing Cincinnati top of the 2nd 6-0. They're still in a delay. They're in, is that right? Athens, Georgia. As the 7-seed Georgia Bulldogs are hosting Binghamton. You get Alabama a little bit later on. That's coming up here in, roughly an hour plus?
Hour and 10 minutes,
Yep, as they take on the Miami Hurricanes. And then later on tonight, you get Auburn hosting Central Connecticut State.
So water can find its way to any crawl space, bringing dangerous mold, mildew, and wood rot, but APS can protect your home's foundation and provide valuable storage space as well. The APS crawl space encapsulation system can stop that water, keep the pests out, while lowering your energy costs. The engineers at APS, they can design a custom solution for your home. Crawl space problems don't get better over time. They get better when you call 205-951-9717. That's the number to APS. Been around since 1977, solving the most challenging issues around your home. They're a local company, locally owned, Alabama Professional Services, 205-951-9717, or just visit their website at alabamaprofessional.com.
Text coming in, 205-834-9450. A lot of your puppy picks. We got a cat pick. We appreciate that. BB sent in a picture of her guard dog, beautiful German Shepherd. Thank you, BB. We appreciate it. This one rolls in. Guy that played Kelly in Bad News Bears won an Oscar a few years ago.
No way. He was cool. I can't believe he was driving a Harley, though. When they went into the ballet class.
Smoke cigarettes.
Oh, just wait till they get to Houston.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Steve from Tuscaloosa wants to know, has Molly seen Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, or For the Love of the Game?
I've seen Field of Dreams, but I haven't seen the other two.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, Bull Durham.
I love Bull Durham.
Yeah, that's good.
For the Love of the Game is a better movie than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Have you seen The Natural?
No.
That's
Oh.
another.
Yeah.
Roy Hobbs.
Add him to
That's
the
a great
list.
one.
Yeah. Molly needs to watch Dazed and Confused.
I've
Yeah.
actually seen that. I
Have
watched
you?
it in high school. Mm-hmm.
You got a joint? Sure would be cooler if you did.
Matthew McConaughey.
What was it where they're
good.
out, come here to kick butt and drink beer, and we're almost out of beer?
Yeah, something like that.
Something-
Yeah, Ben Affleck. Yeah, because he's the bully in that movie. Yeah.
Somebody tried to convince me in high school that was loosely based on that class of Mountain Brook High School back in the day, but I think that's been debunked. That was a popular theory.
That's a fun theory, though.
Yeah. Mike Judge plays Jennifer Aniston's boss at the restaurant Shenanigans. So the guy who wrote it.
Okay. Yeah.
And Drake saying one more chance from my Lady Gators. We got to get this one. All right. So Drake has already moved on to softball.
Some exciting softball. You had the Oklahoma walk-off home run yesterday. Some excitement going on.
Josh says it's a shame there's no P-Town regional for baseball.
I'd be there front row.
Yes, you would.
In your shirt.
In my shirt.
No, he would not be wearing a shirt.
I still haven't worn it around publicly because of some of the warnings that I got when I received the shirt.
You know what I think I think he would wear what we saw in that video from New York.
Yep.
The very first one.
Yeah, with the clamps.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, you show him that video?
Did you not see me over here?
The one that's in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
That one? Oh,
Well, it's the parade. Wheelchair's just leading it.
it was a parade.
The hover round. Has Molly seen We Are Marshall? Kyle wants to know.
I have.
Molly should watch Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
Haven't seen that one.
Labrador.
But I know who they are.
I've never seen a Cheech and Chong movie. I assume it was like Harold and Kumar before Harold and Kumar. Because those movies never really did a lot for me. Kind of funny.
I never saw them.
They're fine.
Thank you for the text. We will continue with that. Also coming up in the hour, we do have Pat Ponders, the Friday edition, which is always fun, and the worst thing that I've seen, and we'll keep you updated on what's going on in college baseball, right? A lot of fun.
And we also want to point you to the Three Man Front Twitter page. Hopefully you follow us on social media. We try to populate a lot of really good creative things throughout the day and the weekend. Molly has posted the results of the helmet bracket. We're down to the Final Four. Alabama, Florida, Auburn, and the powder blue Ole Miss. And we will get into all that next week. But that's your Final Four of the SEC helmet bracket here on Three Man Front. One more hour to go. Keep us tuned right here to Jocks 94.5. We welcome you back to hour number 4, 3-Man Front, here on Jocks 94.5. On the up in Huntsville, Jocks 740 in the capital city of Montgomery. Hope you take us along no matter where you go during the summer months, whether it's to the lake, to the beach, family trip to the mountains, whatever the case may be. Download the Jocks 94.5 app here and listen to us weekdays and watch us on YouTube.
Well, before we head into the weekend, let me tell you about Diamonds Direct, because whether you need to buy a gift for someone because you have a recent graduate in your life, or if you're even thinking about popping the question, Diamonds Direct is sure to have something for you, whatever your style or your preference might be. They will have you covered. But if not, no worries, because their experts can help you out with a custom design. I've been saying it, but I went in just a couple weeks ago, and diamond expert Sasha, she was able to help me find the perfect piece for me that fit both my style and, most importantly, my budget. So go by and check out the beautiful showroom. That's our friends at Diamonds Direct.
All right, a little bit of a baseball update from Auburn. Due to some expected weather close to Auburn around 1 o'clock, the NC State-Stetson game will not begin as scheduled. Auburn's game versus Central Connecticut State will be played tonight and is still scheduled for 6 p.m. at this time. So this cold front's coming through. It's already swung through Birmingham, and it's making its way to the southeastern portion of the state, so it will be affecting Auburn. So they're not going to get the NC State-Stetson game going until that kind of clears the area, but Auburn should not be delayed much after 6 o'clock, if any. And meanwhile, in Hattiesburg, Bama will be taking on the Miami Hurricanes in that regional in about 58 minutes. So that kind of gets you up to date on what's going on in the world of baseball.
Play them all in the dome, Pat. It's ridiculous.
Hey, if they were playing in Hoover, they could play a game right now.
Right?
Just had to throw it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only one rain delay the whole time.
No, Pat, and it was an embarrassment.
It was.
Because it happens every year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Game didn't start on time, Pat. Nope.
Tell you what, the day that we were out there, it was hot.
I got sunburnt. Yeah.
I did too. I ate a lot of peanuts.
Yes, you did.
Hey, you tried to kill me.
I totally did not realize I'd forgotten about your peanut allergy. Pat wanted me to throw them at your face.
The sweetest thing is anytime that Pat's wife makes food for us or goods or anything, she makes a separate batch for me with no peanuts.
She sure does.
And I think it was mentioned to her one time, and she's never forgotten.
Yeah.
She's
Meanwhile, me and Landrum forget all the time.
Yeah, we do. You're the second person up here that has the allergy.
I loved it when Landrum leaned over and asked your mom if she had the EpiPen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said I was disappointed because I never got to use one, which is good. But as a kid, you're also, I kind of want to see how it works. But good thing I never had to use it.
That is so weird that he is upset that he's never had to use an EpiPen.
I know.
Well, not now, but as a kid, you're like, oh, well, what does that thing actually do? How's this actually work?
Well, you could have easily just eaten a jar of peanut butter and you'd have found out real quick.
If we give you the EpiPen on the show, will it have an adverse reaction if you're not suffering from it?
Don't think you're supposed to just use those. I could be wrong, but
don't we stab you in the heart with it?
Yeah, it's basically like a steroid shot.
It's like Pulp Fiction. We just give you the adrenaline shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Has Molly ever seen that one?
I have not.
No, we were just talking
about that movie, actually.
Commercial break. There was one scene that Conrad's a huge fan of.
Yeah. Well, he's got an affinity for leather.
That and tennis balls.
Thought it was a red rubber ball.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good movie.
Was that Ving Rhames?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He played a lot of good roles.
I would just love to see, when these actors, they get scripts for certain movies, and that movie in particular, and you're flipping through, and you're like, yeah, this looks really good. And then you get to that one part. Wait, so I'm supposed to do what?
It depends.
You want me to do what?
Depends on how many zeros on the end of that check.
I would need a lot of zeros for that one.
What's going to be the hot movie that's supposed to hit theaters this summer to be the summer blockbuster?
Jurassic Park.
Is it? No, probably.
I forgot there's a new one coming out.
Yeah. You know what? It was a very slow day, but I went back and I watched some of was it the Chris Pratt?
Yeah, the first one was pretty good.
It was not bad.
They're not as good as the originals, but they're cool.
No, the original, I saw that in the theater. That's no
The
longer there.
very first one was
That one's
in
incredible.
the theater when
Yeah,
it came out.
that was awesome.
I would love to see that in a theater.
Because you
because
didn't
it-
have the
Yeah, me
vibrating
too.
seats, but you had the surround sound.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that the effects of actually seeing the dinosaurs,
Well, that had never been done before. Yeah.
Yep.
and you're like, wow, how'd they do that?
Yeah.
That was pretty neat.
Very realistic.
All right, let's wrap up the week with a little Pat Ponders brought to you by Courtesy GMC.
You okay?
I didn't know.
Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trustful. Get by those fine folks, Josh Gargis, Drew Lally. They're at Courtesy GMC in Trustful off of exit 32, I-459. All right, question number 1. Which college head football coach in the state of Florida is on the hottest seat? Why are you laughing, Molly?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about Scott Frost.
Oh.
I don't think it's him.
I was just thinking about Scott Frost.
You know, I'd be tempted to say Billy Napier, but if Norvell follows up what he did last year with another stinker, it didn't even have to be that bad. Let's just say he goes 5-7. I think Mike Norvell. That's when Florida State fans, even though there's a crazy buyout.
I was thinking Norvell. Honestly.
I'll go Norvell.
Yeah.
Cristobal's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I will just throw this out there. Mike Norvell's buyout after this year, $54.5 million.
I know, and that's why I was hesitant. But
What's Cristobal's buyout?
I am looking that up right now. I think after this last season, it was $62 million. So it's probably in the same range, about 50.
but let's take out. So with the buyouts, yes, that's going to affect the decisions of the ADs. But if we didn't have those crazy buyouts, who would it be?
If we were not,
Yeah, just
taking
take
that
away
into
the
account,
buyout. Who, in your opinion, who would it be?
I would probably go Norvell.
I'd
as
still
well.
go Norvell, yeah.
What about you?
I'd go Cristobal.
That one's. For some reason, I just feel like he'll be able to hang on for a little bit longer.
His estimated buyout is $61 million for Cristobal.
Okay, so yeah,
Yikes.
about what I just saw. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I think Billy Napier's going to have a good enough season to where I'm not saying he'll be completely removed necessarily, but I don't think we're going to be talking about firing Billy Napier at the end of this season. I don't know what to make of Florida State. Like, they're going to be better than last year, but are you going 8-4? Are you going 6-6? You 5-7? Because yeah, I mean, if they're 5-7 or 6-6, yeah, that seat would be hot.
Question number 2. Yesterday, Patrick Mahomes indicated he would not play for Team USA in the Los Angeles Olympics. Do you believe America's starting quarterback in flag football will be a current NFL or a college starting quarterback?
It'll be NFL. Because Jaden Daniels will be young. I seriously think it'll be Jaden Daniels. Because he'll still be in his 20s. See, and that's the thing with Lamar is I think Lamar would probably want to do it, but he's going to be in his 30s at that point. Do you really want to risk doing that? Like, out of the college quarterbacks right now, I mean, Arch or I don't know, Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway,
What about the kid at Oklahoma?
Mateer, yeah. I'm going NFL.
I'd probably go NFL.
I'm going to go NFL.
Think about the young guys. 3 years from now.
Damian would tell you it's going to be Cam Ward that's the Olympic quarterback. I don't know about that. But yeah, I'm putting in if I could make a futures bet right now, 3 years in advance, put my money on Jaden Daniels.
I think it'd be awesome if it was Shadur.
Saw something yesterday about a Browns reporter saying that, he's a 5th round pick. There's no guarantee he'll even make the roster depending on how that quarterback room shakes out.
Wouldn't that be something?
Giddy up.
He just bought a new car too, didn't he?
I saw that he went on social media and said that was false, but I don't know.
Oh,
The Rolls Royce, I think,
Yeah.
is what it was. Yeah,
it was gold, right?
it was nice. I don't know if it was his or not.
All right, question number 3. The College Football Hall of Fame announced yesterday it will lower a coach's entry barrier from 600 winning percentage to 595. The late Mike Leach, as well as Les Miles, will now be available for selection. Leach's winning percentage is .596 before his death. Miles was eligible before the NCAA vacated 37 of his wins, if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he sued, and it got thrown out of court. So Miles now has a winning percentage of .597. Current Iowa head coach Kirk Ferentz has a winning percentage of .598.
You can't make this stuff up.
So in your mind, keep that 597 for Les Miles, 598 for Kirk Ferentz. Is either Les Miles or Kirk Ferentz deserving of the College Football Hall of Fame?
I'd go Les Miles if I had to pick between the two. But that's not what you asked. Les Miles won a championship. I know Gene Chiswick's not in there. Larry Coker's not in there. But Les Miles, I think his antics, the grass chewing, the way that he would conduct himself, the out of nowhere comments, but still, he could coach out his way out of a wet paper sack. Let's give him a little bit of credit. Say yes.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. Everything you just said, I agree with. He's a weird guy.
Mhm.
It's funny to talk about him eating grass and stuff on the sidelines, but he won a title. He played for another one. Granted, didn't cross the 50-yard line in that one, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, he's a Hall of Fame head coach, no doubt about it. Kirk Ferentz now.
No, Kirk Ferentz is not,
Why are you so quick?
because he's not.
I mean, he made a living on playing the hot garbage, which is half of that league. According
What
to
is
some.
what is Kirk Ferentz's crowning achievement as the Iowa head football coach?
Orange Bowl?
He's potentially about to, I think, have the most Big Ten wins in conference history. The
Well,
all-time winningest coach.
He's
Crap,
been
he's
there
gonna get in,
longer than
isn't he?
I've been alive.
Alive. Wow.
He hasn't won the Big Ten since I was 4,
Man, he's going to get in if he has the most wins in Big Ten history, though.
probably.
Molly, that was only like 2 decades ago.
Well, true.
I'll change my answer. I think they both get in.
That's not what he asked though. He said
I said
which
is
one?
either.
Well, then, yeah, then they're both worthy of being in the Hall of Fame,
I'm-
unfortunately.
yeah.
I didn't know that he had the most wins in Big Ten history.
Not yet.
Well, I mean, he's going to win 7 or 8 games a year for the rest of his career, so he'll get there.
And I was fine with that.
Apparently so.
Sure.
Never finished in the top 5 ever.
What's
Ever.
Baby Ferenz doing?
Ever.
I think he's at Maryland,
Is
actually.
he still okay?
Is he like an actual assistant or is he like an analyst?
I think he's an analyst. Let me check.
I miss those Baby Ferenz updates. Those were fun.
No, he's at Fresno State.
Coach or analyst?
Tight ends coach.
Yeah.
Wow. America's a great country.
Yes, it is. Those taxes, though, a little different than in Iowa.
He was the analyst last year at Maryland.
Mm.
Now he's in Fresno.
All right, question number 4.
For that stellar 4-8 campaign they had there.
On this date in 1854, the Kansas-Nebraska Act was passed, providing for the territorial organization of Kansas and Nebraska under the principle of popular sovereignty. Basically, they were able to vote to decide whether they were going to admit it into the Union as a slave state or a free state.
Okay.
In 1854. So it got me thinking about those two great states, Kansas and Nebraska. There are 24 players from the University of Nebraska in the College Football Hall of Fame. There are 9 members in the Hall of Fame that played football in the state of Kansas. When you think of the state of Kansas and football, Who is the first individual that comes to your mind?
Mangino.
I guess Patrick Mahomes doesn't count.
See, I was thinking that too.
Like when I think of Kansas football players, I mean, I'm gonna think of like.
The Kansas City Chiefs do not play in Kansas.
Well, I know technically, I know they play in Missouri.
It's just the state of Kansas, though, right?
Correct.
So because next would be Darren Sproles.
Okay, that's a good one. And by the way, Sproles is in the College Football Hall of Fame, so that's a really good one.
Do they have from Kansas? Do they have to go to Kansas
or Kansas State?
I was thinking of a guy born in Kansas, but he didn't go there.
No, I'm talking about you played football in the state of Kansas.
Molly, you have to follow directions.
I just want to make sure I heard the question right.
Just like 24 players from the University of Nebraska is in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Because,
only 9 from Kansas that either played at Kansas State or Kansas.
Because the guy I was thinking about, he played high school football in Kansas, but not at any of the universities.
I would probably go Jordan Nelson. Played at Kansas State.
Okay. He is not in the College Football Hall of Fame, but okay.
No, well, I just think of him more from the time with the Packers.
Is Lockett in there?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Molly, you got one?
No, I don't.
See,
Darren
for me, it's Bill Snyder.
Bill. Oh, okay. When we're thinking of coaches and stuff, too. Yeah.
That's why I went Mangino.
Yeah.
So here are the 9 individuals from the state of Kansas that played football in the state that is in the College Football Hall of Fame. Michael Bishop, quarterback for Kansas State.
Good one.
He got in just a couple years ago. Bill Snyder, head coach, Kansas State. Darren Sproles, running back, Kansas State. Mark Semino, linebacker from Kansas State. Gary Spanny, linebacker from Kansas State. Gale Sayers, the great from the Chicago Bears.
Okay, yeah.
He played for the Kansas Jayhawks. John Hadle, quarterback for Kansas. Ray Evans, running back for Kansas. And Jim Bosch, a running back from Kansas. Those are the 9 individuals that's in the College Football Hall of Fame that played football or coached in the state of Kansas. By the way, Alabama has 24 players. Same with Nebraska, the number of players in the College Football Hall of Fame. Auburn has 11. All right, final question of the week, and it comes from BB. We're all familiar with Looney Tunes cartoons. If you had to pick a Looney Tune character that most resembles your life today, which from the following list would it be? Wile E. Coyote, Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, Sylvester the Cat, Pepe Le Pew, Tweety Bird, or the Tasmanian Devil? Which one best, I guess, incorporates your life right now?
Mine would be Sylvester the Cat.
I'll go Tweety Bird.
Still, in a not harming others way, a little bit mischievous with my personality, but also I'm persistent. And he was persistent and never got Tweety, but I don't know. Sylvester the Cat is, if we're going villain characters, he was one of those where I don't know.
So you're the villain in your life?
It's certainly not my wife. I wouldn't say villain. Just I was thinking about his personality and remembering those cartoons. I liked him.
How about you, Conrad?
I mean, I feel like mine's obvious. I'd be Pepe Le Pew.
Okay.
He's got a little bit of a swagger to him, but at the same time, like, he's a little dirty, a little nasty. So, yeah, that's probably me.
And you went Tweety Bird.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That
Thank you,
one's
BB.
You would be Tweety. Yeah, you'd be Tweety.
I was about to say, I immediately was like, Molly's Tweety Bird, I'm Pepe Le Pew. You're a tougher nut to crack.
What does that mean?
There's options. But you're Sylvester the Cat. That's a good one. I didn't mean that that was a compliment.
No. What would you be?
My wife thinks I would be Tasmanian Devil, just because I'm always doing stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm.
Always on the move.
Always on the move.
Very busy.
Can you do the voice?
No. I cannot.
How's the voice?
It's something like that, isn't it? Like when he's like going
I
crazy.
really hope YouTube captured that.
That was
what
what,
It's something like
that's
that.
what I was going for, partner. If we can go and pull that one more time.
No, you'll
No,
get
do
it
it.
on the last.
Do it.
I don't know.
Do it.
He goes. Doesn't he have like stick his tongue out? He's like wah, 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 like when he's like spinning around and stuff and going. Isn't that what he does?
We can use that for. I've already got great ideas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be great.
Uh,
All right. That's this week's Pat Ponders brought to you by Courtesy GMC. Go to courtesybirmingham.com. More three-man front. Your calls, your texts, the rest of the way. This is Jocks 94.5. We want to hear from you the rest of the way. 1-800-239-WJOX, the Courtesy GMC text line 205-834-9450. If any of the questions of Pat Ponders you would like to partake in that, give us your thoughts on those topics or some movies that Molly might need to watch for the rest of the summer. We'd love to get your input at 1-800-239-WJOX or 205-834-9450. Meanwhile, Florida is still losing 10-2 to East Carolina. Anything can happen.
It can.
We've talked about it before, man. You go up against one of the top pitchers But here's the problem. East Carolina just came out. And they just were just hitting the ball like crazy.
Raking. They're not missing anything.
No. That thing looks like a beach ball coming up there to those Pirate hitters. Speaking of the Pirates, because they're from the American Athletic Conference, an earlier story that we told you about here on Three Man Front, it was announced that the BJCC Legacy Arena will host the 2026 men's and women's basketball tournament from the American Athletic Conference. So that is huge.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot of fun come March Madness as both the men and women will play in downtown Birmingham. So major kudos for the folks down at UAB to put that bid in and to be the host for the college basketball tournaments coming up in 2026. So it should be a lot of fun.
How about our friends at Prize Picks? It is a great way for daily fantasy users to enjoy sports across all platforms, whether it's professional basketball with the playoffs going on right now, or you want to go professional baseball, which is typically on this show where we go. Prize Picks, you can win up to 2,000 times your money, and it's really easy. Just download the Prize Picks app, fill out all your information. Make sure one of the first things you do is enter WJOX as your promo code. Your first $5 play on any two-player projections, win or lose $50 instantly. Promo code WJOX. We'll go Major League Baseball coming up tonight. The Braves hosting the Boston Red Sox. 3-game set there at Truist. And one of the player props that's out there right now is Marcell Ozuna. He was off on a tear early in the season, but lately he's cooled off just a little bit. But Marcell Ozuna, 0.5 hits, runs, and runs batted in, more or less. You can have a combination of any or all of the three to go above 0.5. I'm going to say that Marcell does get a hit tonight, or at least scores a run. So I'm going more on Marcell Ozuna. Got to find one more, and I'm going to go. It's Duran, right? Jarren Duran.
Yes.
Of the Red Sox, he is just an impressive player.
He's going to have a big weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm going to get to watch it. 0.5 hits, runs batted in. I'm going to go more on that tonight as well. If I hit on both of those, I'm a winner. You can be a winner too. Promo code WJOX. Appreciate our friends at Prize Picks.
So how about this little weird stat for tonight's Major League Baseball? The Dodgers are a home underdog for the first time in over a year.
Whoa.
Well, as they should be.
As they take on Max Fried and the Yankees. So the Dodgers are plus 110 on the money line at home against New York.
They got another thing coming for them. Granted, I will say this. The last time we played in Los Angeles or against the Dodgers in the regular season, Aaron Judge broke his foot and missed a significant amount of time. So,
well, here's the other
need that
part
to not happen again.
Of this stat I was going to tell you why it's so interesting. Is because the last time the Dodgers were a home underdog was against the Braves, and Max Fried was the starting pitcher against the Dodgers.
Well,
and LA won the game 5-1 against Max Fried.
Well, dadgummit, Pat.
Well, I just realized that Sunday, the pitching matchup that I'm going to be watching with my wife at Truist, you got Spencer Strider on the bump. And the last time that me and my wife watched Spencer Strider pitch,
I was texting you.
Yeah, his arm basically fell off, and we didn't see him for a year and a half.
I was texting him when you were at the game. You and I were going back and forth, and I said, "Yeah, this is not."
When the radar started
good.
Popping at 94 on a fastball, it was like,
So I guess Strider and Crochet on Sunday?
Strider and Crochet. I get Swelly tomorrow.
That's going to make some good baseball.
Yeah. Yep. Who's Swelly? I think Giolito is tonight.
Okay, yeah, probably. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Go Braves.
Do us
Ozzy's heating up a little bit.
Help us out a little bit.
Yeah, you can hear the Braves here on Jox 94.5 all season long. We continue with your phone calls here on this Furry Friday. And he's not furry anymore because he shaved. Don Time, what's up?
Hello, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Are you riding down the road?
I'm on 280, and let me give everybody a warning about 280. They're getting ready to do construction on 280 starting this weekend. It's going to be a huge mess.
Now, how long is that supposed to last?
A long time, guys, because I'm hearing they're going to do some bridge work and everything, and it's not going to. It's bad. No, even when it's not construction, I don't have to tell anybody in Birmingham that. But Landry, got a question on your top pick.
Okay.
what is Pete Crow Armstrong for my Cubbies today?
Let's see. PCA. I will pull that up right now. What was PCA? Oh, goodness. What time do they play?
I think it's a night game. I think.
Okay. Let's see if they're all. Yeah. 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs for PCA. They're actually playing. What right now?
Are they playing right now? Yeah, I forgot it might be at Wrigley on a Friday. That's true. But I tell you what, Landrum, that man is on fire. Him and Tucker both, man.
Yes, he is.
Now, I know Pat don't want to talk about that. I guess my phone's going out of order again, right, Pat?
I'm sorry. My headphones aren't working today. I'm not really sure if someone's talking to me or not.
I knew that was the reaction I was going to get, but Pat, I'm hoping that you saw the TV ratings for last weekend for the Stallions and UFL was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend. As a matter of fact, the most watched game of the entire season came with the Roughnecks and the DC Defenders. That was 1.3 million people tuned into that one. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, and didn't I see where the Stallions game at the peak got like 1.2 million?
They did very well as well. So yeah, it was a good weekend for the UFL.
Well, you got a great game tonight, and I bet you that'll probably be I think that'll be the most watched game tonight. So I believe Washington and St. Louis, DC and St. Louis play tonight.
That'll be a good one. There will probably be more Stallions fans at the Showboats game this weekend.
That's what I just said to Conrad.
Yep.
That's what I just said to Conrad. And thank you guys for the shout out about that. There's a lot of my fellow horsemen going up there, and the ones that aren't going up there, I want to announce real quick, we're going to be at our usual place, back 40 for the watch party Sunday afternoon.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Well, hopefully the Stallions can get it done, and then hopefully the weather will cooperate, and we'll all be in attendance on that Sunday afternoon as the USFL championship game between Michigan and the Stallions.
And hopefully all of y'all can come to our tailgate that we have. And I tell you, the last week's tailgate was one of the better ones we've had. And like I told you the other day, several listeners came by, and really nice to meet everybody that came by. And anybody's welcome at the Horseman tailgate, guys. And hopefully I can get all y'all to come.
Well, Landrum's got a couple of dietary restrictions that he wants to check with you on before he commits.
Yes, nothing with soy.
Well, you just need to let me know Tuesday at a good old social taco, buddy, and I'll have something special for you.
And Conrad, nothing with nuts.
Yeah, I just heard about that. I know several people that had that peanut allergy. Conrad, God bless you, buddy. I hope nobody ever has peanuts in there without you knowing about it, buddy.
Oh, it's not. I've had peanuts before. It doesn't kill me. It just makes me incredibly uncomfortable.
He just doesn't like nuts on him for some reason. Don.
Yeah, does it make your face swell up when you eat them, Conrad?
I can't answer that question now, Don.
If you just like rubbed it on your face, though, would you break out?
Okay. Well, by the way, hey, Landrum.
But if you drink tea with the nuts, are you okay with that?
I'm sorry, my headphones aren't working like Pat's weren't earlier.
It's cutting out.
Well, I got a question. That was me that texted in about Conrad not knowing what the 18 stand for. I was kidding you. It takes an Auburn fan to correct him what the jersey 18 means. So that.
What would I do without you, Don?
Not good, Conrad.
I know.
That's right.
Well, I guess that means when you win your next one, that means I guess you got to get a number 19 jersey, right?
No, it just means it'll officially forever and always be the Bray Hubbard jersey.
There you go. Well, guys, y'all have a great weekend. Giddy up Sunday, and talk to y'all next week, fellas.
Thanks, Don. Have a good weekend. Don. Be careful out there. More three-man front. This is Jocks 94.5. It's 138, Jocks 94.5. Pat Smith, Landrum Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson. Coming up at the top of the hour will be the Paul Feinbaum Show as he is back in Charlotte, North Carolina, giving a recap of the week's activities down in Destin, Florida. If you missed it yesterday, the SEC did pass that if you storm the field or the court, it's going to cost you $500,000 as an institution, unless you give the visiting team a little bit of notice in which they can get their players, their coaches, off the playing field or the court, and then you can storm the court or the field, and it won't cost you anything. But $500,000 instead of the escalator that it was before, it is now just $500,000. And if you do it, it will go to the visiting team's pocketbook. If it is a non-conference opponent, it will then be sent to the scholarship fund for the Southeastern Conference. So,
is your wife off of work today, Conrad?
Yes, why?
We got a picture of Pharaoh.
Oh, yeah, no. She was listening to the show, and she said, I want to send in a picture of our dog if everyone else is.
Oh.
Do you make Pharaoh wear that hat?
My wife did.
Hey, Pharaoh. Hey, buddy.
Hates wearing clothes. So.
Kind of like you.
That is correct.
Very
Pat.
true. He's just like his dad.
Chip off the old block.
Oh, the pup pictures are great. BB texted into the show, and she said, you need to get the suit to budget a car service so I can get to Homewood on Tuesdays.
I think Don should go pick her up and bring her to Social Taco.
In the van?
Mm-hmm.
The RV?
The white van. Down by the river.
Oh, wow. Eric sending in some baseball card picks. He's got some good ones.
Pete Rose?
Yeah, 1964 tops.
That's a good one.
Let's see what else he's got here. Yep. What is this one? Well, he's got some really old cards. They look like they're in great condition. Thanks for sending those in, Eric. Steve asked, Landrum Roberts, the Conrad of the Braves? Oh, the bad luck with the Strider?
Oh, yeah.
I hope not. We went and saw him play after that. I might just be Conrad Spencer Strider's bad luck.
Surely won't happen 2 times in a row.
Oh, wow.
He'll be fine.
Buddy Love sends in a pic of, I can't remember the actor, but he played in The Sixth Sense, the kid who played in The Sixth Sense, who is now grown up.
Yeah, Osment. Haley
Yeah.
Joel Osment. Yeah.
Yep. Have you gotten that as a doppelganger? He's a little fluffier than you in the face.
Wait, that's... Oh, God. Someone said he looks like me?
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Oh,
if you squint and you're intoxicated.
I'm going to the gym after the show.
No, you don't. I said he was fluffier than you. No, you're fine. You're fine.
I've the one that I've been given the most is Ed Norton. And to be honest, when I was growing up, I got a lot of A.J. McCarron minus the chest tattoo. Got a lot of that growing up.
Another great pup picture coming in. Looks a lot. Tim sends this in. It looks a lot like Pharaoh. His name is Levi. Very cool name. Some of you just learning that Zion is being sued. Yes, that is correct.
And he is going to countersue.
Right. Mike in Silicaga says the Looney Tunes character that best fits my life wasn't one of the choices, but it would be Daffy Duck. Also, if Molly hasn't seen Weekend at Bernie's, it's worth a watch. Thank you for that, Mike.
I feel like I have seen that.
I think we've had that conversation. I think you have seen it.
Yeah.
Because I actually stayed at where they filmed it.
Yeah.
Well, the second one, there was, believe it or not, there was a sequel.
Yeah, I never saw the sequel.
The second one was actually filmed in St. Thomas, and we stayed at that resort where the movie was filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Not the first one, but
the second one.
The sequel. Yeah.
Mike in Huntsville would love to watch Cocaine Bear with y'all, especially after eating one of these gummies I have. Whoa. All right, cool. And then he says, sounds like you guys have already eaten some gummies.
As hard as it may be to believe.
What time is it?
For all the wild stuff that we say on here, we are 100% sober every single day. And we
sober,
still...
and that might be even more disturbing.
Yes. Yes.
Lewis says Foghorn Leghorn.
Yes, sir.
Josh says he thinks of Josh Freeman when it comes to Kansas, the state of Kansas, and great football players. He said, my first ever Auburn game was the versus K-State in 07. Jordy Nelson threw a touchdown in that game, actually. Huh.
Jordy Nelson underrated.
Wasn't Ron Prince the head coach?
I think that's right, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Molly's about to tweet this out. No pun intended, because she's Tweety Bird.
Tweety Bird. That's her Looney Tune character.
Well, I retweeted it.
Okay,
Royal
so it's out
Payne
there now.
tweeted it to us. He said, here's what Grok looks like if you guys are Looney Tunes characters. And look at that. It's all of us as
Hey.
Looney Tunes characters.
That's so cool.
That's so funny.
Good stuff.
So thank you, Royal Payne.
You guys are so creative.
Ugh.
Clerks 2 is a vote for Molly to watch. Another good one for Molly to see. We Are the Millers.
I've seen that.
Did you see Clerks 2?
Clerks 2? I've seen parts of Clerks.
Haven't seen that, but I've seen We're the Millers.
Is the second? I guess the second one is worth watching then.
Mike asked, can TJ Finley quarterback the flag football team for America? He's played everywhere else.
Do we want him representing the country?
What is his legal status right now?
I do not know
Is
that.
he still involved with the possession of stolen goods deal? All right, thanks for the text. We got more that we might be able to get to prior to departing you guys for the week. Conrad has seen something bad. We're going to learn what exactly that is. The worst thing I've seen is next. 149, three-man front here on this Friday. Hope all of you have an outstanding weekend. We appreciate all the great pictures. We got some more. This little guy or gal, I can't tell. Cute nonetheless. Wearing oh man, is that a Trash Pandas hat?
Oh.
I think it is. Here, Molly.
Wait, let me see.
Take a gander.
Oh, it is. That's so cute.
Can't get enough of those. I don't even know how this started. How did it start?
Somebody sent in they got a puppy and they named it after Molly.
Oh, yeah, Molly.
And then people start sending dog pictures because we love dogs.
I've been told I have a common dog name. I've met a lot of Mollies in my life, but most of them have been dogs, which is fine. It's
my
a
aunt
great
and
name.
uncle had a dog named Molly. Yep.
Very cool.
But is this the first one that's ever been named after you specifically?
Probably, yeah. It's a big deal.
Pretty big honor.
I'm honored.
It's also a big deal that we have college baseball regionals going on. End of the seventh inning, if you're a Florida fan, brace yourself. East Carolina beating the Gators right now 11-2. Also, Texas, no score between the Longhorns. They're in the Austin Regional hosting Houston Christian. 2-0 ETSU over Louisville, bottom of the third inning of that regional. And Cincinnati on top of Wake Forest right now, 8-4. Still in a weather delay, Georgia, as they host Binghamton. That was scheduled to start at 11 a.m. this morning. And Kentucky and West Virginia in that particular regional, that is also in a delay. It was scheduled to start at 11 as well. You get Alabama and Miami coming up 10 minutes from right now. They're in Hattiesburg. Later on, you're going to get Auburn as they take on Central Connecticut State. That game is still scheduled for 6 o'clock, I believe, but the game that precedes them with Stetson and NC State was scheduled to start a little bit earlier, but I have not seen a score on that. So, or they're going to push it a little bit later because of weather. They're not.
Yeah, so the last update that came from Auburn baseball, they said due to expected weather close to 1 p.m., NC State and Stetson will not begin as scheduled, but the Auburn game versus Central Connecticut will be played tonight and still scheduled for 6 o'clock. So not sure when the first game's going to start, but I mean, you should have enough time still if you start at 2:30 to kind of squeeze it in there.
Conrad, you see some bad stuff from time to time, right?
Like the kid chewing on the knife.
Kid chewing on the knife. That's a great example. This is the worst thing that Conrad has seen.
All right, so for today, not quite as bizarre as yesterday. If you remember the E. coli infection, that was a pretty bizarre one. Don't see that one every day, but you certainly don't see this one every day either. So today we are going to go to Excelsior Springs in Missouri.
Ooh.
Maybe Pat could help us out with that.
Excelsior Springs.
Yep, that's what it's called. And there is a place there called Clay Ray Veterans Memorial Hall. And so I'm going to tell you what happened, and you're going to think, okay, that's pretty bizarre, but I'll tell you why it's really bizarre in just a moment. So a couple of days ago, a car flew off a nearby roadway and actually smashed into the roof of the Clay Ray Veterans Memorial Hall up there in Missouri. And if you go and you can find online a picture of it, and you can confirm this, Landrum, the car is completely through the roof.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like, oh, the front of the car is stuck in
No.
No, the entire car went through the roof.
Through the roof.
Yes. And so that is a bizarre situation in and of its own right, because that happened on Wednesday morning. But what's even more bizarre is the exact same thing happened back in February. So on Wednesday, when this car went through the roof, they were still doing repairs from the initial accident back in February. And so you have a member of the Excelsior Springs Police Department, quote, saying, though it might seem like a recurring issue, these are very unique situations. Well, you don't say. So, yeah, definitely a bizarre situation there. But what happened allegedly was a 56-year-old driver who was delivering food for a nearby volunteer organization, unfortunately, had a medical incident in the car. They had a seizure, losing control of the vehicle, causing it to go off the roadway and ramp onto or through the roof of the Veterans Memorial Hall. The crash, it said that the car's engine ejected and landed near a flagpole outside of the building. Luckily, though, the driver only suffered minor injuries, was able to walk away from the scene, and no charges are going to be filed. It seems like the seizure and all of that was taken care of as well. So the good news is, doesn't look like anybody was seriously injured, but certainly a bizarre situation to have a vehicle go off a road, fly up in the air, and go through the roof of a building twice in a 3-month.
Is it time to put up the barrier like we have at Talladega?
I would say it is probably time to,
Yeah.
you need some reinforcement.
Can you just imagine what's going on in the Veterans Hall? You're sitting there, you're playing dominoes, playing cards, asking everybody what they're doing this weekend.
Man, not again.
Again? Ugh.
Yeah, so the building is closed to the public. They're currently now undergoing more repairs because it's been shut down since February. So that's now going to continue as they do the repairs there. But yeah, bizarre situation.
It's raining cars.
No kidding. But yeah, seriously, since nobody got hurt, it's an interesting story. Go look up the picture. Seriously, it is a car through a roof. I've never seen it like that before.
That's wild. I appreciate all of you. It's been a fun week. We're back at it on Monday. We'll have plenty to talk about. Maybe we'll get a house settlement. Maybe Judge Claudia Wilkin will get that thing finalized. More from the SEC and a roundup of the Stallions, what we see this weekend, and college baseball regionals. From all of us to all of you, thank you so much. Be nice to one another. Love one another. We love you guys.